G'day, citizens. Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm actually doing today by Ese, filling in for our How on Ese.
Doing all right. How are you?
Good. Is it raining where you are? Since like rain in the background. I believe I'm hearing rain. You hear it earlier, but is it rain?
No, it's a windstorm actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm on the road and I'm in a valley in the mountains of California, and yeah, it's quite windy outside right now.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me. I did also ask Drazen to join us, but he's had to pull out while sleeping. He's got an important job interview on it. I said to him, I actually did say, yeah, go do the job interview. More important. Maybe, as you suggested, he might drop in a little late. All right. We do have a couple of things to talk about that I had organized, and I've now stupidly closed, so I'm gonna have to open them again and go find them. Of not which the biggest one is obviously going to be the Stingray. People are going to want to talk about that one. But the ongoing. I haven't actually asked you about this. Have you heard much about what's been going on at the moment?
I'm sorry, say again?
Have you heard much that's been going on lately about what's like the current drama?
A little bit. I mean, like being on the road, you just don't get the same amount of time to go over the information. But I mean, I do know that there's quite a bit of drama in the community right now. Community's a little upset.
Yep. You know why they're upset? Or you got no clue?
You know, I don't really know the details. And there are things that you and I have talked about on the side where I don't really want to speculate beyond that. Because you know, it's like things that are
yeah, you don't have to say. Yeah, so basically there was a really bad live stream. They've got a history of really bad live streams, to be honest with you. And they basically played the upcoming Horizon, and they were kind of having digs at each other, a little bit negative with each other. But not only that, it was really buggy. And not just buggy, but it was also buggy on a private internal server, the same as it would be. You know, a lot of people wanted to play on the live servers, so they got to experience it like what it is for us. But it actually showed that it's pretty much the same no matter where you play it. Yeah, it was British Banner. I got the British Banner thing, but some people don't get the, you know, like it's also a very Elliot thing. I spent close to 5 hours sitting with Elliot at a bar Citizen, and we just sat there drinking and talking for ages. He's a really great guy. We got on really well. And I think in hindsight, even Elliot would agree that he was probably a bit harsh with Ollie on his first stream. He probably should have toned it down a little bit. Elliot was just having fun. That's his version of fun. And to be right-minded, if I was there, I would have done exactly this. So I would have been really bad for Ollie's first. If anyone that's seen me on this stream when I'm driving and doing multiple things in the background, and then seen me on someone else's show, I'm a little bit more, definitely a bit more loose on someone else's stream, because I can have a bit more fun and I can relax a bit. So yeah. So that's kind of what's going on, and that blew up really big this week because a gentleman by the name of Moist Critical, or his channel is Penguin Zero, on YouTube. He's got 18.9 million, almost 9 million subscribers, which is huge. And his video has now, in very rapid succession, become more viewed than the trailer for Star Citizen that was almost at 2 million views. So there's a lot of people that have seen this issue. It got so big that even some news YouTubers are covering it. So, you know Philip DeFranco?
I do not.
Wow. Okay. Well, I know who he is, and yeah, and I'm an Australian. But yeah, he picked it up and covered it, which I found was just, I was like, is this really newsworthy? By the way, this is like 2 weeks after the fact, so they were really late to the party. It turns out some guy called Kira, now I don't know Kira, but apparently he is, he likes drama and shit stirring, and so he kind of picked it up and ran with it, and that's what made Moist Critical see it. Then Philip DeFranco saw it because Moist Critical saw it, except you know how it goes, you know, the next highest up sees it, except that's kind of how it went.
Yeah, I actually did catch the very tail end of that live stream,
mm.
and that was a absolute train wreck, especially for them playing something that's been played for years. Just it's yeah, it was not a good look.
Yeah, I think I've always said this, right? Star Citizen's a really hard thing to kind of show off properly because they're actually working on Squadron. I've said this for years. And anyone that's like kind of in the development thing knows that Star Citizen's got a skeleton crew compared to and I think that's the other part that's really starting to piss a lot of people off, is they're realizing that this game has now taken most of the development time, most of the cost. We've never really seen the fruits of our labor, and we're paying for this thing that we want, and they're actually making this thing that you can argue, me and Algrid argue about this, right? Because he really wants Squadron, right? But I think would agree, like if I did a poll, most people would say that they want Star Citizen and not Squadron, right? And that's kind of about as much as I can get in an agreement with Algrid. I don't want to, I'm not trying to pick a fight or say right or wrong or put words in his mouth. But it's very hard. Well, I don't know, I'll ask you that too, SA. Are you a Squadron guy or a Star Citizen guy? And I think you'd agree most people are Star Citizen.
I'm a Star Citizen guy. I mean, Squadron to me was I was a huge Freelancer fan. So, I definitely am looking forward to Squadron, but Squadron to me is, just gotten bigger and bigger and more ambitious. And,
yeah,
I'm going to play it. I'm probably going to enjoy it.
Yep.
But, Star Citizen is really what I'm backed for.
Yeah, and that's how most people feel. And I remember and if you're listening, I'm not doing this to pick on you, but I remember Cyrus Frost when he was an Inforunner, and he got so mad every time we'd talk about this particular subject. And I remember I could settle him down a little bit and tell him how it was always part of the plan. And once he kind of, and I remember other people that I've talked to, they get really, really, really angry. And then when they understand that Squadron was always meant to be this stepping stone, right? But even I now must acknowledge that stepping stone has become a massive stone. It is not, it was meant to be, it should have come out in 2016, 2017. It didn't need to be this really big thing that they've made it out to be now. And I
always
go ahead.
No, we've always talked about that the creep within both games, the ambition of both games has been to the detriment of CIG. I mean, this chapter 1 should have come out at least 6 years ago, if not earlier.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been the same game that chapter 2 would have been, or the same game as Star Citizen, but we've just been waiting and waiting. And how long ago were the motion capture stuff done?
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's
2015. 2015, yeah, it's been over a decade.
It's been a decade.
Yeah, well, to the point, I did say this only a couple of streams ago. I remember back in 2021 or 2022, someone asked Gillian Anderson about Star Citizen, and she totally forgot she was even in it. Like that, and that had only been like 6 years earlier. It'd been 6 years, and she totally forgot because it had never come out. So yeah, it's just, yeah. Can't say I disagree. Well, again, I talked about it before, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. But the title, I do want to also talk about the title of this stream. Do you know what I called it today? Did you catch the name or not?
Oh God, you told me right before we started, and then...
No, I did. I told you yesterday.
What is it?
It's Please Let Me Dream Again.
Oh yeah.
And what that's actually in reference to, because I've realized this week, I feel awesome. Right? I feel absolutely amazing, and it's because I can dream again. And I can dream again because someone linked the list of ships. I could sit there and think about them. I'm realizing not having the ship silhouette video, not having a list of things that I know just enough about that I can dream the other part of it is really important to me. It gives me something to look forward to. So instead of having this ship that just comes out every month and it's like, okay, that's what it is, right? All right, there's the next one. What it is, right? I've actually got something that I can dream about. I can imagine. And that's really, for some bizarre reason, that makes me exceptionally happy that I can just dream about all these ships that are coming. Not like, again, okay, I know what the galaxy is. I know when it's coming. It's something to look forward to. But I can't dream about the galaxy because I know what it is. It sounds bizarre, but I'm exceptionally happy because of that ship leak.
I mean, this game was built on, I mean, this is like a hilarious thing to say, but this game was built on dreaming about the game. I mean, when we didn't know anything about what it was going to be, do you remember when the milestones would come out and they would say, we're going to add this feature if we get to this dollar amount, and people would just get so excited about, you know, this hangar, what was the hangar, not a robot, hangar drone?
Yep.
It was going to do repairs and do things. And
AMX repair drone is what it is now. I've named it and everything. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I remember spending hours with people like you talking about, like, oh my God, I wonder what this is going to be able to do. What's my hangar going to be like?
Yep.
You know, what is the ship going to be like inside? I mean, like, that's all this game was built on, was dreaming. And I think, you know, for older backers, we've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours just dreaming about what this game could be. You know, not even what it is.
Yeah, I'd even say at some point some of those dreams have probably come true because they've heard things that people have said. You know what I mean? And they've shaped what, without a doubt. You know what I mean? I think the classic example that'll stand for all time now is VMXVO's Aurora. You know that he hates it when I do that. That's why I do it all the time. But he did. So he made that little image, and it went so viral that they literally made the Aurora Mark II that. Like, I'm sorry, bro, the full credit where credit is due, and he deserves every second of it. And it's fantastic. I think the only thing that they probably could have done is made him flap, but they obviously can't do that because of June, you know. Like, but you know.
Now the start of this game, you know, was for years, and I mean, I don't even know how many years. I know Persistent Hangars was like, what, 5 years in, 4 years? Hangars came in like 3, and then Persistent Hangars came in 4 or 5. And remember when they were talking about people being able to hang their posters that they'd gotten on the wall? And there were all these discussions about, you know, literally the forums were full of people talking about, like, well, I don't know, you should be able to move it across the wall inside your hangar real time, and like the silliest thing to like get in and to really be excited about. But people spent, you know, dozens of hours discussing something as simple as hanging a poster on the wall.
There is still silly things people complain about now. They're just bugs. Like, why isn't this simplistic bug that doesn't really matter not squished and stuff like that? You've only got to go to Reddit and you'll see someone saying, can we get this as a feature or something? And they're asking for like really weird, bizarre features that have got nothing to do with gameplay. I see them on a daily basis. And again, people are entitled to do that. I've got no problem with that. But you got to realize that it's all about priority and nice to haves really fall by the wayside when you literally foundation. Someone was saying, someone said killing concepts. And Terry's A said the best thing was killing concepts. Well, see, I don't agree with that because I think the concepts gave us something to dream about. And I'm only realizing it this week because I didn't know what was missing. Like, I thought it was the ship silhouette video, right? And it is that. Because we just haven't had anything to talk about. And now there's been this kind of ship leak that's given me 5 ships to dream about. I've just had them in my head all week, walking around. Anytime I start thinking, I just go, okay, what would the Skylark be? What's the Constellation Mark V going to be like? Like, stuff like that. Actually, I should ask you about that. What do you think of that Constellation Mark V, by the way?
I do not like the design. I was not a fan. I like the original kind of chonky, you know.
But so you don't like the new Aurora?
No, I do not. And I'm a classics kind of guy. I definitely prefer the original concept. I still have one, you know.
You're gonna hate me then, because I love it.
Some people do. I don't fault them for it. I just think that there's nothing wrong with them coming out with these. I would say when it comes down to killing concepts, I wouldn't say that was the issue, killing concept sales. I think the issue was that they sold the concepts when they announced them. And to me, we could have had the best of both worlds where they come out with the concept. They say, hey, this isn't the ship coming, but you can't buy it till it's in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that gives you something to talk about.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. That's it in a nutshell. Like, I don't disagree with Antares, but there's nothing to look forward to. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to dream about. They just come out and they are what they are, warts and all, right? And again, like, the extreme indifference of this would be, say, something like the Star-Lancer. Now, you may love the Star-Lancer, but it is full of issues. It's got massive issues. Right, and there's a lot of other ships that we've seen where if they had brought that out in concept, we would have told them it was wrong, right? And let's think of another. Like, I'm just going to pick a random ship at random, the Corsair. Now, remember when the Corsair came out? You remember this, SA? Those turrets only fired to the side. Lots of people, including us, complained about it, and they fixed them because it was really obvious. And believe it or not, they need that feedback. Right? I don't know what it is, but they are behind where the community is at when it comes to ships. They just are. And again, I'll give you the example of when they learned about the Perseus and signage, and they went back and it added it to their credit and went back and put it on the Polaris and stuff like that. But they'd never done that before. Yet we'd been screaming at them for a decade to do that. I don't know. And I don't mean to say this like they're stupid, but they're a little bit slow on the uptake when it comes to, like, they are developers, not ship designers, right? And I mean that as in real ship, like boats and naval and stuff, right? Where we've got some people in here that have been naval and, you know, people like Algrid, oh my God, SA that have been in the military and stuff like that. You get where I'm going, right? There's a lot of people that know their shit in this community, right? Least of all, not me. I clearly can't remember people's names. You get my point, right? There's all these people that know shit, and they could use that knowledge, but for some bizarre reason, they're working in a little silo, and they're just doing their thing, and they need some of that information. I thought they would have taken it in, but it's clearly not seeping through. We'll see.
Well, I mean, you know, my long-term belief on CIG is that they got high on their own product. You know, like they just they did so well in the beginning in raising funds, and they did so well in getting the player base excited about the future of what could come, that you know, they just got a little arrogant when it came down to certain things in design and certain features. And I mean, think of how many features have been dropped or delayed because they were convinced it was going to be needed for the game. And, you know, they just couldn't pull it off, and all the time that was spent on those features.
Yep. I often think, how does $1 billion affect your head size? I guess I'll call it that. Because it wouldn't just be Chris. It would be a lot of people there that think they're doing everything right and they're not doing anything wrong. That they know better because they're, like, money talks type of thing. And I think you can raise a lot of money and be doing a lot wrong personally. I don't know. Apparently there's a sneak peek out, so I'm just loading up real quick to have a look at it. Okay, well, to me, this is electrifying. I'm gonna bring it over so everyone can look. What do you make of this, mate?
I mean, to me, this goes into engineering gameplay. I mean, that's it. That looks like a generator at a base that, you know, we're going to be having to fix or do something with in Squadron 42.
Generally, usually more like a sneak peek of the game. I actually think of the batteries from, what was it called?
Well, it's the generator because it says E-Gen.
Yeah, but it reminds me of the batteries that were in, what the hell was the name of that event? The one with the giant laser and that makes a hole and you got to go down and dig out of it. God, what the fuck is it called? I'm having a brain fart. Starts with H. I can't remember the rest of it. But it reminds me of that. But as for this, it's generally an SC sneak peek. So the way my brain goes is it's got to be something to do with base building or something like that. Athor, thank you for correcting me. Multiple people in chat. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know what else it could be implying.
I mean, it could be tied to a coming event or something where you have to repair generators and bunkers, or I mean, who knows? But
yeah,
I don't know why this would be a sneak peek. You know what I mean? It's just a kind of a strange choice.
Interesting. Something just a couple of people are saying there. Space Pumpkin and Socially Confused. So Space Pumpkin says couple that with the active cooling panel, and then it does look like Levski Underground. They're not wrong. See the background, like how it's that kind of grey Levski area. It could be an upcoming event. Could be an upcoming event. It's definitely not a ship. I'll tell you that much. So I'll kind of leave it at that. Hang on. Yep, that one.
I think Levski's a great call, and that's my favorite place in the game. So that would be pretty amazing if there's a mission set with Levski.
All right, sorry, fixing immersion. There we go. Immersion fixed. Right. Hey, immersion. There we go. Fixed. Nope. All right, fixed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this one. Again, the ship ones are just easier to dodge. Yeah. Did you actually see those ship leaks yourself or not? That came out last week.
I've only seen a couple of them. I mean, the thing is, I just don't get excited about ships anymore at all. And you know, leaks themselves. There's so many things that they've released intentionally that have never come through. You know, there's certain parts about the leaks that I like. I like that at least they're still trying to theory craft on what ships should be doing. And I appreciate that, but I wouldn't say that I got excited about it and dove into it. I was just kind of very casually like, oh, like, I mean, I watched an episode here of just like, okay, well, what could, you know, what is this going to be? And I just, you know, it didn't really interest me all that much. I wish they went back to the whole silhouettes thing, because that gave us like a framework of how to discuss things and how to anticipate and really go into each individual size, comparing the person standing next to it or a box next to it to its size, and you know, giving stuff that is just a hodgepodge just doesn't do anything for me.
Oh, they're a listener name, you know. But yes, I agree. I hope they do another silhouette video, but my brain tells me they're never gonna. And once they stop doing something, they don't tend to go back to do it again. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of us content creators complaining about it, but that doesn't usually tend to move the needle much. So we'll have to wait and see. You know, I'll be pleasantly surprised if. But yeah, there'd have to be like an up. I don't think it wasn't last. Yeah. It is what it is. Right. I don't think there was something to talk about. What it was. It was something I specifically wanted to talk about with you, but oh, Ship Showdown. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about. I should probably put the bot up too. I haven't done that either. I'm terrible. Yeah, I'm gonna get Agrid here reminding me and doing that stuff.
I'm not a very good partner.
No, you're just not used to it. That's all good. Agrid's well trained. I've, you know, honed him in over many years. So, all right, bot is up. Not a single question's come in, but if you've asked a question already, please get them back in. All right. Yep. The bot stuff has come through. So yeah, you got any questions for me or specifically Essay? Essay, do you want to tell them a little bit about your background so they know some questions that might be good for you, like your marking military background?
Yeah, so
some good questions.
On the civilian side, involved heavily in systems logistics, got in a lot to marketing, manufacturing. On the military side, going on 17 years. I'm actually retiring early medically, coming up soon. multiple deployments, small team unit tactics, a lot of countries in very deserty places. So, things, experiences, I could go on and on about the military stuff. If you do have a question, especially about ground combat or aerial support, those type of things, have a lot of experience with those.
Again, you'd be a really good person for CIG to talk to about military shit. That's for sure. Definitely showed me.
I'm sure there are tons of people in the community that they could be talking to. It's like, we had conversations about logistics one time that
I think we've got
I was amazed.
There's a group I'm in somewhere that's got like 14 tankers in it. They all drove tanks.
Yeah, I remember there was we had a conversation once with the tanker, you and I.
Yeah, we did.
And one of my best friends in the military, he's a former tanker. He changed his MLS, but it was hilarious. Like, I was talking to him about different things that I thought in tanks, and he was like, "No, you are wrong. This is this is the way it should be." He's like, "All right."
Oh, well, being in a room with 14 of them was quite an experience. They're all a special type of crazy, that lot, but in a good way, not a bad way, in a good way. And they really knew what they were talking about, and they really, like yourself and any other military people I talk to, they don't mind educating people, and I think it's a good thing. A lot of people have perceptions of how the military is, and they're completely wrong almost every single respect.
The thing to understand as well is that there are a lot of military people that play Star Citizen.
Oh yeah.
And there was a guy that was going to be on my last deployment on my team, he like randomly was like playing it. I could think this was the story, but he was randomly playing it, and I was like, "Oh, Star Citizen." He's like, "You know this game?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he's a great experience when it comes down to tactics and training and ground combat. So, like, there are tons of people out there, even ones that I randomly ran into while on duty, that know a lot about the topics that they could have easily crowdsourced, or they could have brought on a few contractors just to help them through certain aspects of it. But like, the biggest one to me that I found hilarious are attachments to weapons. And they clearly have an advisor for weapons, but when the first design of weapon attachments came out, I would like, everyone that knows about assembling a weapon was like, this makes no sense. Like, the biggest thing for me were scopes and visors. Because like, when you zoom in on your weapon, you go into scope like you're playing a normal first-person shooter game. It's like you're wearing a helmet. Like, a scope does you no good. They should have had like a digital sighting scope, and then you have the view in your helmet. But
that's
anyways,
a little bit
I'll
like
get off that tangent.
A little bit like the tank too. Like, the tankers told me the camera was below the turret and stuff like that, and it should have been above and all that type of thing. Like, because you wouldn't be able to see where you're shooting and all that type of shit, because they kick back and it stuffs up the camera, and so the camera's got to be on the top, or just weird things like that. Actually, remember you telling me the story about that guy that that didn't end up going on deployment with you. It actually went further than that, and it's actually a lot funnier. Can I tell the last part?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, you should tell it. Part,
I don't know which part you're talking about, because like,
there's multiple parts to it, but basically you end up giving him a package.
Oh yeah, I gave him a
but then package. But the part when he found out about you specifically, us, that was funny too. You should tell him about that.
That was very confusing. His face was very confused.
Yeah, so tell him that, and I find that funny. So yeah, tell him that bit.
He was fairly new to the game. He was playing it on his laptop, and when I mentioned something to him, like, "Oh yeah, I'm on the Inforunners every so often," and it was like, he got all excited. I mean, I don't really remember even like what he said or what he did.
He knew the Inforunners, but he didn't know you'd ever been on there.
Well, yeah,
what you told
I'm
me.
not on very often, and also too, you have to understand. Like, usually when I'm on, you see my face. I have a beard.
Yeah.
Like, there are different things. So
you turned to him and said, "Think of me with a beard," and he went, "Holy shit! Like, Execute, yeah." Well, that's how you told it to me the first time, anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that was pretty much it. He was very surprised that I think the thing that shocked him was not even that part of it. It was just simply like, it's really nice, and I think that's why this community works, especially the Inforunners community and viewers. We get excited when we know that somebody has the same passion we have, and let's face it, we're all a bunch of space sim dorks, and there are very few people in my day-to-day life that I can talk to about this game. Like, and I mean, like in person.
Yeah,
So when you
same.
meet somebody and you're like, wow, we actually share this connection. It's exciting.
Yeah. And you ended up, because you've been around as long as I have, you end up gave him one of the legacy packs, and he got really excited because,
Yeah.
as you said, he was a new person, and to him that was highly valuable. To you and me, like, we've had him sit him in buyback forever type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I had a bunch of my buyback, and I was saving them for when I met people like him, that I could be like, hey man, you know, because it was like what, like $35 to me, but like it gave him the game, both games, and Legacy Alpha, and like, you know, all the starting thing, and it's like an original pack. So for the, you know, that's a really, for a new player who's missed out on stuff. I mean, you know the fear of missing out, and how many people we know that are new to the game that wish they had access to the things that we did.
Yep. I'm still jealous of all the shit that I got. But yeah.
The amount of I counted at one point how many things that, like, how many bonus items I had in my hangar, and I had 46 pages.
Yeah.
Of hangar decorations and things to go in the hangar.
It's a bit like that, isn't it? It's a bit crazy. Actually, let's get a little bit more off topic. A little bit. I'm going to talk about 2 other games. I did say I would talk about some other games. But, actually, no, yeah, we'll do that first, and then we'll come back to Ship Showdown. I want to show you 2 things that you may or may not have seen. Really hesitant to show trailers though, because every time I show a trailer on here, they basically monetize the stream, and they basically take it away from me.
Which is hilarious because you're reviewing it, which technically is allowed.
Yeah. Which I just find that really weird. But I'll play it without sound. But this is a new game that's coming out. This has got a beta this weekend called War Dogs. It's about $67 dues. I've picked it up. I know a lot of Australians have picked up. A lot of Armour people have picked it up. So I know, for example, I'm pretty sure Grim's going to pick it up. It's like, a lot of people thought it was going to be like Battlefield, but it's slower than Battlefield. But you can actually like build. So it's a bit like Counter-Strike. You earn money as you play, and then you use that money to spend on to actually buy the guns and stuff. So think of it a bit like that. But you can literally build, break through doors, lock doors, build bases and towers. You can build like anti-air emplacements and all this type of stuff. Like, it's like really, really full on, and it's over quite a large area. So I think it's going to be really, really popular. I'm not really showing too much of it here, obviously, as we kind of sit here and talk. But I'd probably recommend you have a look at this, because I reckon this would be up your alley. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe you don't want to do military stuff anymore. I don't know. What's your take on this? Just share with me. Tell me I'm off the mark if I am.
So, I had a friend that talked about this and that I should check it out, and I didn't do it. Mainly, I've just been really busy. But no, I mean, looking at the things that the game clearly needs some work. The graphics and the gameplay needs some work. But watching that video, that is probably the most realistic. I call it a sim, combat sim game. When you come down to the speed, like if you watch the guys running, they look kind of awkward. And yeah, when you're running with a weapon and, a pack, in a combat load, like that stuff is not comfortable. It slows you down. The speed of the trucks, the speed of the people reloading. When he did the mag check, like that is, if that's an actual feature in the game, it's going to annoy the Battlefield and Call of Duty players, because the mag checks are a real thing, and you need to know where you're at with your rounds, and do you need a fresh mag? If they have simple features like you can take a mag out, put it back in your kit, and then pull another mag and put it in, because you don't want to waste your rounds, and then you can reload mags. Like, that's the stuff that I like.
Yeah.
And I tend to stay away from. I do not like Battlefield. I do not like Call of Duty. The last The last Battlefield game, I think, was like the last one that was in World War II, or
Yeah.
maybe 2 or 3 ago. And then the
Battlefield
same thing
1.
with Call of Duty. I think it was Call of Duty 2, I think, was the last one I liked.
Yeah.
And I only liked hardcore mode. So if this game is more like that type of combat hardcore mode, and then I love base building. So there's a tactical aspect to that, of building positions.
That's what I'm interested in. I want to do the base building stuff. I want to be like the little engineer and set up traps for people and all that type of shit. Yeah.
Combat engineers, CBs, like, they're all carpenters. They're all extremely valuable. And, the difference is that you don't build an OP or anything else as quickly as I'm sure in the game you do. It's probably, gamified, but it's cool that you could do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought I'd show you that one because it's one that I think a lot of people would be interested in. Now this next one is more personal, just me and you, and you can tell people why if you want, but it's Aliens Fireteam Elite. This is definitely not going to be as popular. This comes out in 4 days time for me, or 4 or 5 days time, and you and I played the shit out of the first one. So I am really looking forward to this. It's not a game for everyone. And I will freely admit that. It's made by a very small development team. The first one was made by 9 people. Should have done a gameplay trailer, not an announcement trailer, but I can do, hang on. If I can, I don't know. I just don't like playing stuff through IGN. Yeah, I'll just play one of these ones. So these are the class showcases. But yeah, they made it 4 people this time as well. I don't know. How did you find the first one?
Oh, I mean, you nailed it. We played the living hell out of this game, and I played with a couple of military guys. Ridiculous amount of this game when it came out. When this game came out, it was during the C word. And I actually had come down with it and was stuck in quarantine, but I had my laptop, and then that's why I played so much with you in the very beginning and with other guys, and I really enjoyed the game. I think we were all very surprised by this game, the first version of it. As far as the second one, and I've told you this directly, like, to me, the real question is was it needed, or could they have just improved the first version? Like, I don't know yet. And the only reason I haven't gotten it yet is I know I would enjoy it. Is it just the first game with just more to it? And I'm interested to see what you think. I'm probably going to pick it up because I did enjoy the first one so much.
Reviews said the story is a lot better. The weapons are a lot tighter, things like that. So just quality of life improvements. Yes, more of the same, but also the classes are all different now. So you got a reason to kind of play. And you can, there's a special class called the specialist. So as you know how you went round and you fully maxed out each class and you had all those little abilities, well, you can actually take those abilities and put them all into one class. That grid thing? It's got this special grid thing for those that don't play, but it's got this grid that you put your abilities into. Well, there's a specialist grid, but you can use anyone's items on the specialist grid. Yeah. Anyway, so that's enough for trailers for today, but that was the other one I wanted to show you because they're the 2 games I'm looking forward to in the next bit that I'll be playing.
I mean, what I would say is you like team shooters and you didn't play the first Fire Team, I guarantee you it's one of the better ones made. The first Fire Team. It was a great game. I wish they would have had the team and the budget to be able to continue to develop it.
Yeah. They did do an expansion.
I definitely.
Not every game gets an expansion these days, so it was mildly successful. You there, or did I lose you? That's it. Oh,
no, I'm here. I think we're on a slight delay, so
that's all.
Being halfway around the world
happens. All right, let's get back to the ship showdown. Now we've taken our tangent for the week. Right. So this next vote. So I'll show you how I voted. I voted with ships that I owned. Right, that's how I voted. If you're wondering. So I voted for ones that I own. So this one is kind of hard because I own both of them. To be honest with you, I think realistically the Clipper's probably going to win it, mainly because when it was sold, it was the most popular ship in the game. So I don't know who's winning the vote, but I assume the Clipper's going to take this one. But I'd be happy with either of them winning this, to be honest. Yeah. Who do you reckon's going to take this one?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I definitely think it's going to be the Clipper. I just, you know, I think with the Aurora being the more common ship in the verse, I mean, it will be. You're going to see more of them than Clippers, at least in the beginning and launch.
It's now Aurora, but it's now Aurora Mark 1s, not Aurora Mark 2s. Not everyone upgraded. You got to remember that now. That's the problem they have with making these Mark 1s and Mark 2s. Is the Aurora was, by the way, the Aurora was the most common ship in the game. Then the Cutter took over, and then the Clipper took over from the Cutter. So the Aurora is not the most popular ship in the game anymore.
I didn't realize the Clipper had taken the number one. I mean, the Clipper is, to be honest, that like if the Clipper would have come out at the very beginning of the concept of the game, I mean, that is the ship that to me says the most or feels the most like it is a you know, a junk bucket flying by the seat of your pants, exploring spaceship.
Well, look at those numbers. Almost 12K versus almost 9.5K. So they're both pretty high votes. But I remember, just put it this way, I remember the final votes of some of the first ship showdowns not even breaking 6K. And now we're getting like random votes like this where they're both exceeding the final ship showdown count. But I'm really a lot less interested in this because they've now tweaked this competition so much that it's just become, it really is just a pissing contest now. It's we can't influence it anymore. We tried to get the 85X in here, they cut the 85X.
I'm going to be very honest with you. I haven't even paid attention this year. When I saw it come up in my email, first thing I thought of was like, you know, I'll set an alarm every day so I can go in and vote. And I never did. And when I realized I was missing the vote and we were talking about this, I still don't care. And, you know, I got the skin to the one I wanted, which was a Gladiator. So, you know, last year, which I'm super happy about. But to me, this isn't a competition anymore. It is a popularity contest that they're gauging. You know, I don't know if they're using the metrics from it, but they're just trying to get interest in, you know, it's just not, you know, to me, what they should have done is categorize it. So like, and they're kind of doing that with this competition, but I want to see more of, we'll put all the industrial ships, you know, on one size against each other, you know, the bigger ones against each other, you know, the medium ones. And then you go through and you get like the last three finalists and then they go in and then you have an industrial winner.
Yeah, they can literally set it up to preference themselves. That's what I'm talking about. The whole thing is loaded so they can most likely get the ones they want to the top.
I mean, they did a slightly better job this year on putting similar types of ships against each other.
Yeah, but even then they can load it like you can let's be honest, you can go through here and go, all right, the Ironclad's absolutely going to hammer the Hermes. The UTV was never going to beat the MTC. The Corsair over the Carrack, well, the Corsair is more popular because the Carrack's just too old at this point, right? The Clipper, I think this is the most interesting one here for me that I can't pick. Or actually these two. But here, the Raelian, probably expect the Raelian to beat the Prowler Utility. I could be wrong on that one. And then the Perseus will most definitely beat the Idris. And then after that, you can go through and then go, well, okay, Ironclad's going to beat the MTX. The Corsair is probably going to lose to the Clipper, I have to assume, because these are both fairly popular. And I'd say the
Clipper's gonna win.
Yeah, right. So you're only really worrying about up to these top four. So once they get up to here, there's no point talking about them because they've all got a skin. That would mean it would be Reclaimer or Mole versus M80 or Shiv. I'd probably have to say that the industrial ship is going to beat whoever pops up here. And then here. The Perseus, and the Perseus will probably take the whole thing, let's be honest. That's a very, very popular ship. I see that way too much for the site. Yeah, I know you can agree with me and you can disagree with me on some of the things I've said there, but you would have to agree overall it's a lot easier to predict now than it ever was before. Because
I mean, part of that is just the nature of where they're at with these newer ships. I mean, it's a sad statement of like.
I mean specifically, they set it up so they know who's going to win. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I think what they're doing though is they know what ships are popular. They know that they're getting better at ship design, and the newer ships are outselling. You know, I mean, the saddest thing to me about where they're at is because of us as a community, we've incentivized them to produce ships for sale. Like, you know, that's where their revenue. I mean, the revenues always come from that, but you know, because they're at this point where they need money and they need to continue development and they need to be able to bankroll the game. I feel like we get too many ships, if that makes sense.
Yeah, at the moment, like yeah, definitely. We're up to 20, 27 last year, and I think we're getting like 24 this year. Where previous years we were lucky to get 12, you know.
No, in the beginning it was what, 4. So
yeah, exactly. Or yeah, sometimes you know, it's yeah. So yeah. It's definitely an illusion of choice. That's what pisses me off, and I'm probably at the point that if it continues, you know, I might talk about it when it's over or talk about it before it begins, but it's always been something to talk about, but now it's just like it feels blasé. It's kind of like you said, there's too many ships, we're spoiled for choice, and we cannot affect this vote anymore like we used to, right? And Dom said in chat, it's so sad the 85X didn't make it. Well, do you know why the 85X didn't make it? Because they added a new criteria this year. It's not just the art submissions anymore. It was also the time spent in the pilot seat. I can tell you now, few of those ships that are in there, they didn't even have art submissions. I checked. I was checking what was up the top, right? And I'm telling you, I think I probably saw maybe one Carrick submission, right? I didn't see any submissions for the mole. None. Right? I saw one for the MTC. I didn't see any for the UTC. Right? But these are things that people are using in game, and that's why they made it into the vote. So they found another metric to bring in, and that metric stabilizes and removes the bullshit. And that's why the 85X was removed. And it had heaps of votes, but not enough people were actually using it in game. And so that's how it was removed.
I'm going to stand by my statement of they need to do a this competition needs to be longer, and they need to start it by doing categories of ships. So you put all snubs against each other.
They do, man. Here, look, if you scroll up.
Well, but
okay. I've got to go back to the first one. Here, look. These are these are the categories. They do have categories, mate. Here, look. If I can find them, where the hell are they? Here they are, right? Raiders, Road Warriors, Pathfinders, Underdog, Heavy Duty, Run and Gun, Electric, Exotic, and Big Hitters.
What I'm saying is I think they need to put them up for. I think they need to expand the bracket to actually be like. Have you ever seen the American the March Madness, the NCAA basketball tournament?
This might surprise you, but I'm not American.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody should know everything that happens in America. I mean, it's the most important country in the world. So
we fucking slap you with a freedom unit. But
one of the things that they do is they have conferences, right? Where the early votes, and it's a lot of gameplay. It takes forever to get through, and they have a pre-tournaments too. What I'm saying is we do a simple bracket that's just a V bracket. They do 4 V brackets to bring it down to the final 4. So they have conferences, like you have East, West, like different ways to look at it. But I feel like they need to go to a system like that where pretty much every ship is in and ships go against each other, but then they start off in categories like a bracket, like a conference, and then eventually they get into they all go into a single bracket. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, look up like a March Madness bracket, and you'll get what I mean by that.
I think if you're going to do it realistic, yeah, every ship in the game would be an amazing way to do it. Then it really is like just taking a selection and getting people to do art submissions isn't really a fair way of doing it, right? And
I mean,
I'd
it's
also
cool to involve the community, and I appreciate that. But I mean, I agree.
I'd also agree the ships used in game is also not a fair metric, because what if you're not playing the game? That means your opinion doesn't count. You know what I mean? So if you've just decided, oh, I'm not playing at the moment because I don't like current patch, or I'm just taking a break or whatever, your vote is instantly overridden and doesn't matter. My gameplay is science, but I'm not playing because I don't like science, so my science ship doesn't get to where I'm going. Like it's that type of thing.
Well, it's kind of funny when you talk about your gameplay, because when I see you play, it's usually testing ships and showing people around.
I didn't. Like, it's true. But no, I just used that as an example. I know it's not one in the game.
No. What I'm saying is, if they use that, I'm kind of supporting what you said, because if they're using the time you spend in ships, you're flying ships that you would never fly in game, or want to own. And it's like, and I think everybody does that. We all take things out and try them out.
Yeah. Well, I do have most of the starter ships to show people. That's for sure. Anyway, I don't know. This is a marketing tool. This is a marketing event, and they want the most popular ships to help them sell more of said popular ships. That's what this is.
Well, speaking to this like one last time, I would even like to see them do it. Like they need to change something in this where it actually makes it interesting. I would love to see them do something where same basic bracket concept, but maybe they take one ship from each manufacturer and put it into a bracket where they go against each other. So you have like a fighter, a light fighter, but from different manufacturers. So each manufacturer would only be able to enter one light fighter. So it'd be popular vote on the forums for that. But then you're going head to head with like ships, and that's what I want to see. I want to see them put like ships against each other all the way until the end.
I don't disagree with you, but you know why they're never going to do that? Too much bloody work. They don't get what they want out of it. They're going to put in 10 times the effort to get the same outcome. They want just the new ships. This is a heavily curated thing to help them sell more shit. Not for us. It was never for us. And we've heard a lot of stuff in the background about how mad they were at the time about the MPUV winning. But
yeah, that's
hilarious
to me.
But I love
that ship.
That particular marketing guy got the message, but then he left the company the next year and someone else came in. And so that person had to be taught that message again, and they never ever learned it. And now they've rigged the system to such a point that we'll never ever be able to teach said lesson again. And the said lesson is, it's not the size of a ship or its functionality. It's how good it is, and all those little things. I actually wonder how pissed, say, someone like Chris was, and I know Paul's brought this up a few times in our conversations. Like, can you imagine Chris talking to people about the ship showdown? Oh yeah, and this tiny little MPUV won it, and our community said this is the best ship in our entire game. Like, would he see that as an insult, or would he get the compliment and the banter of it? Who knows? I've got no clue. So yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just soured for me as a competition now, and it's not as fun as it once was. It was always fun to get a ship in there and get every. I do hope that they just at IIE they just go, oh, here's some skins for the 85X. I would love to them to do that and just go, here you go. We know that you were trying to get every ship in the game a skin. Here's some skins for the 85X.
I do want to say, if anybody from CIG is listening to this that's in marketing, which no one is, but the best time that I had in the community, probably for like the last 8 years, maybe even longer, was when Paul started the drive for the MPUV.
Yeah.
For Best in Show. That we had so much fun as a community talking about it.
Yeah.
Getting people involved. Like, it was a lot of fun for us older backers to take a ship that is so simple and that we all are like, yeah, it's the most reliable utility ship in the game. It should have a skin.
And how many
the marketing team, but I thought it was a blast.
And when it won, how many did everyone buy? Like that's the
exactly.
They made heaps of money. Sometimes a meme or what they saw as a meme goes really far, but it was also a message. I'll tell you right now, if you wanted to send CIG a message, right? You know how everyone's really kind of annoyed at the moment? You know what I mean? Like how we're talking earlier about how they're kind of just a bit miffed because of this live stream and all this type of stuff. Do you know how to send a message? And it doesn't even have to kind of affect you. It's a delay, right? So let's say next week the Stingray comes out, right? Because that's in game at the moment or in the PTE. You wanted to send a message as an active community. We just held off buying it for 2 days. I'm not saying not buy it, just not buy it for 2 days after it's released. Can you imagine the gap, the graph go down to 0 and stay at 0 for 2 days? And the reason it's got to be 2 days is because of how the world works. You know how it's got, like, I'm a day ahead of you type of thing. So you got to do 2 days, right? But so it would be a gap of a day. But that 1 day when it, wait, hang on, we just released this ship. Why is everything at 0? That's a message. And then the next, 2 days later, you buy your ship and you go do what you're going to do. But I don't think as a community we've got enough self-control that we could even delay it by 24 hours, by 48 hours.
It's too dispersed of a community too. It's like there are people that love the Inforunners, and people that love different creators with different styles.
You would have to plan. You would have to plan it, and it would have to go like really wide. Like you would have to go right. So this ship that comes out, you could just say October, right? So in October, because October is when they're doing the content creator event, whatever ship they drop at the content creator event, you can buy it. Just don't buy it for 48 hours. Right, you could plan it, right? And again, you could make it go wide. You'd have to talk to every content creator you could, and there'd still be people that buy it straight away. But that dip in sales of where they're expecting, graph go up, if it was going down or it was neutral, that would be a message. And then 2 days later it goes up again. They'd be like, oh.
So. One of the things, and I don't want to go off on this, too much, but I just want to mention it. The problem, and we've talked about this before, just as friends, the problem that CIG faces is they don't have anybody in the community at CIG, and it would do them or behoove them, as we like to say in the military.
They've got Ollie.
To get an advocate. They don't have advocates on the board of directors. The board of directors needs 1 to 2 actual...
So we need to get Old Man Hurston on the actual board, is what you're saying.
Yeah, if he was on the board, I mean, it would be... The meetings would be way too long, but yeah. Like, they need...
Somebody clip that! SA's in trouble! Right. Yeah, keep going.
They need, they need people on there. Maybe it's rotating content creators or somebody, even as a steering committee. Like a committee that sits beside the board and advises them, saying like, here's what the community is talking about. Because, and they're going to say, well, we're a company, we have stakeholders, but the reality is the biggest stakeholder is the community. We're the reason why they have money.
Yeah.
So, and
I think
the main reason they have money.
I think that's the other reason why it's starting to feel different, right? It's partially time. Right, like the longer the time goes on that this game is taking, the more people are getting annoyed. It's like, why hasn't this been here? But also, it's the same excuses over and over and over, right? There was a letter this week by a content creator called Keeble DE. He's a German, I believe he's German. And he was basically calling CIG out and saying that it's time to be really transparent and tell us what's going on and all this type of stuff. I agreed with him on everything except one thing, and I think it's the timing. I think you need to let them get Squadron out, because let's be honest, the whole reason why Star Citizen's in shambles right now is nobody's working. Next to no one. They are all working on Squadron, trying to get every program they have is there trying to get rid of those bugs. So taking a programmer off that and putting them under Star Citizen is detrimental to trying to get Squadron out the door, so to speak. So in my book, it's let them get Squadron out and then it's the next 12 months after that's out. If you are not working verbosely on Star Citizen, we're gonna yeah, they really, like, if they walk back into CIG after releasing Squadron and go, right, we're going to start working on episode 2, people are just going to lose their minds. I think they need to really be aware the community's kind of had enough. And I think the other reason it's coming to a head is we're all expecting this delay news now, right? And I think it's the delay and the bad state of the game, and it's just all coming to a head.
If they could, I mean, the message that I think they need to take away from what's happening right now with the community and with content creators talking more about the instability of the game is that their ability to communicate. I mean, and this is not the wingman's hangar days where communication was very direct and honest, because they didn't have a game. So they could talk about how we got to push this back because of this. We have, we're working on this. If they could take, if I could tell them to take one lesson away from the current state of the community, it's that this community's put up with over a decade of development of the game, that they have a very buggy, incomplete game at the moment, and they're willing to accept that, but they would just like you to say it. They want to hear you say that, acknowledge what they're going through in gameplay and in experience, and just, is there going to be a portion that's going to scream at you on the forums? Yeah. But I think a majority of backers are going to be like, thank you for your honesty, and we don't have that anymore. We don't have, we get updates of the game, but it's always this new system. It's never.
How often do we see Chris anymore? We're lucky to see Chris once a year. Yeah. I think Chris needs to do a video and let's just say, look, we are working on getting Squadron out the door. Can you please bear with us, because we're just trying to get all the bugs out of it. Whatever, it's really like, it's obvious to me because I'm a former game developer, and it's obviously obvious to them, but that's why they need to communicate that. One of the things I've learned, right, in doing this is I know a lot more than most because of my gameplay background, but then you'll get someone that comes in and they think completely different to me. That like I don't, like I said last week, I didn't even realize there were people that don't imagine. Didn't know that was a thing. Right. And I've learned, like, and like the military stuff I've learned through talking to you and other military people, there's all these things that you just don't know what you don't know. And it's the same thing to them. They're so in the game and they know so much about the game that they don't realize that other people don't know those things. You know what I mean? So they have to really spell out, like, one of the things Keeble said in his thing is it's communication. It's always been communication is their weakest thing. They are terrible at communication. They've actually learned if they do nothing, things blow over. Like this current problem, right? It's come out, and it went out to really big YouTubers and all that type of thing. But the very next day, it was the Grand Theft Auto 6 hack. So there was a bigger story. So it's already starting to blow over. So they've learned to just hunker down and let things blow over. That's how they deal with everything. That's how they've always dealt with it, if you think about it. Not the best way, not healthy, is it? It almost feels like an abusive relationship. We're getting the silent treatment from the significant other, you know what I mean? Instead of healthy communication. You there, SA, or I lost you?
I was just giving you the silent treatment.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. Well, that's what I'm here for. I mean, speaking to that, like, they're in a very different mindset right now. I mean, for lack of a better way to put it, to be in crunch time, to actually trying to push out a product is a difficult place to be. And if they had to push that back because they're not ready, I don't think they understand that the community would be grateful just to hear them say it. Like, we are at this place and we didn't think we'd be here, but we want to give you the best possible product and we're going to push it to this date. And, and they don't even give a date. They can just say, we will give you a date when it is, 90 days out. But, the silence speaks, it feels like disrespect in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And that is the problem. And that's why I think the community's at where they're at. will the community stop buying ships and really put the pressure on them? Unfortunately, no, because that's not our nature. We've already bought virtual spaceships. We're going to buy more.
Well,
but should we, put a little more pressure on them? Yeah.
Hang on 2 seconds. Because I was looking at this the other day. Let me bring you guys over. When it loads. So I was initially going, okay, so maybe this won't be a month that is as big as, because every month has been bigger than every other month since. But I realized we haven't even started selling the Stingray yet. So look how big that is. Like, it's not quite a half, not quite a third.
I think that's a good segue into either questions or the Stingray.
I'll probably do an episode with it in the next day or two with our grid on the Stingray. Specifically. But yeah, we've only got 2 questions right now, so chat's been fairly quiet. Awesome. Chat's been fairly quiet up to this point, but yeah, please, if you want to get some questions in, or me and our group, I'm so used to our group being here. Me and Esso will have to cut it short. Sorry. But yeah, we've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes. Me and Algrid usually talk for the first hour, and then we do questions for the last 2. That's kind of what we've been used to. Yeah. Cool. Thank you for the tier 1 subscription. Gifted sub, sorry, and it went to Captain Wallbar. Make sure you thanks, Corb, for the gifted sub. Yeah, but I do think this is the message that they give a shit about. They don't care about anything else, right? So the only way you can ever send them a message is through this. This is the only thing that they listen to. The only thing they care about. And unfortunately, the whole talk with your wallet thing, that's what we have to do. But I think there's enough new people now that you'll never ever get the message to the new people. You know what I mean?
Well, the reality is, like, when people call the game a grift, I always reply back, well, you can play it. Like, it's not in a great state usually. They're in better patches than others, but you can actually play the game. And if you're playing with friends, you're going to have fun.
Yeah.
But what the message that we taught them, because of our excitement about playing a game like this, is that we will pay money for pretty things and for new things. And because we've done that, we've trained this pattern. Like the pattern that you see on the screen, that's our doing. We did that.
Yep. That's it.
And the community's large enough now where I don't think we're ever going to break them from that habit of seeing, even if the Stingray was a complete failure, they would still make money from it.
Yep. So
unfortunately, like this cycle, it's not going to stop. And, can we influence it? I mean, I agree with, there was a post, one of the commenters was like, well, boycott, there's always going to be an anti-boycott. And I think that's correct. Like they're going to still sell ships. The real question is, I think the thing that they don't want is bad press and bad word of mouth.
Yeah, they'd be really freaked out about that massive YouTuber thing. This is the thing. Instead of learning from the live stream and doing it again, they will never ever do it again. It's what they've learned. They've not learned to alliterate and fix problems. They've learned to just never ever do that said thing again. That's literally, how Jared walked up to him at the end and said, "Wrap it up, it's your show." Because Ollie wanted to show the community what the game was like, right? That you can tell what Ollie's thought pattern is. Let's go play the game. They always want us to play the game, and they want you devs to show what it's like. He had the right sentiment, but they, like the people that were on the stream with him and that, didn't want to do that because it always comes off as bad, and it did come off as bad. Ollie had the right intention. It just, the community didn't go with him and say, they kind of, and so the message that CIG received, I'm afraid, was never ever do a live stream playing the game ever again. And that's and the history of CIG is not to reiterate and fix your mistakes. It's to close it down and never touch it again. Am I wrong? Tell me, I say, am I wrong or am I?
I mean, it's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, like that's the community's asked them to play the game themselves or with them for quite a while, and yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that they expect us to want a perfectly polished and executing game, but we've all played it and we know it's not. And, you know, and it hasn't been for, you know, almost a decade.
But it's also, it's more, to me personally, right? You correct me if I'm wrong. It's more like, you know who's saying telling it, like just admitting it and saying it, right? But it's also, like telling us why it's buggy. Well, it's buggy. Like, you know how I say it's clearly obvious to me that they've got all the programmers working on Squadron. They just need to say that. They say, sorry, the game sucks right now because nobody is free to go code for Star Citizen because we've got them fixing Squadron so we can get it out the door. Now, in the past, though, you get these squeaky wheel people, the loud minority that we hear about, that will bitch and moan, and that's why they're not doing it. Because they don't want to hear that shit. They just want to get on with it and get it done. Because we've also trained them, just like this, we did this. We have trained them on how to give us feedback or talk to us, and they've found that it's just easier not to talk to us because of the squeaky wheels. It's just how it is. They you know, if they say nothing, they don't get any more feedback. They get no replies. Where if you know, 90% of the audience, you know, most of the people here, we want to hear that because it puts us at ease. But that other 10%, they don't understand that, and they go rah, and they don't want to hear the rah, and that's why they never ever give us the feedback. It's the bad apples. It's always bad apples, man. Single time.
Yeah, I mean that's with any gaming community, though. Yeah. I mean, it's always the, you know, everyone I've ever been part of is, you know, it's the people that with the loudest voice are the ones that are listened to, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. It is. No, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think they listen to them. Can I be honest? They if you think about all the times when things get actually changed in this game, that's when the whole community stands. Like when there's a really big stand up, right? There's always these loud people on the spectrum, and let's be honest, most of us don't go to spectrum. It's when we all stand up, right? And I can also tell you this, often when we're standing up, there are people at CIG that are standing up with us because you know, they might be working on Squadron and it's a Star Citizen issue, but they own ships for Star Citizen. So they'll go, hey, hang on, what's going on? And so one of them will go talk to the other guy in the office and say, look at all these people online that's saying that this, you know, and that's where I think a lot of change comes from. Where when someone at CIG or someone else at CIG something, I think that's where it, you know, because a lot of them were backers like us too. You know, there's a lot of passionate people there. All right. Do you want to read the questions?
Well, I don't have the. Where's the feed at?
Stream questions. You should have access.
Yeah, no, I haven't looked at it. I should. Hold on.
I
just haven't looked.
With the changes that he made to the bot, though, is it brings all the bot ones through. So you just got to go. You can delete them, which is what me and Algrid usually do. We go through and just delete all the Nightbot ones because he's old and he doesn't like to filter stuff.
I'm on a laptop and my screen is very tiny right now.
Okay, well, I'll
give me 1 second.
First one is Cody Fox. If you want to read that one, I can emote them if you want to read them. So that one there, if you can see it, just put a thumb on it. Or do you want me to read them?
Why don't you start and I'll take over?
All right. Cody Fox says, regarding ground combat, because the air power / CAS in Star Citizen is basically everything right now, what do you think CIG needs to do to make ground vehicles and tacticals more effective? I got to ask, what does CAS mean? I don't.
Close air support.
Right. Okay. What do you think CIG to make ground vehicles and tactics more effective? Can I be honest? As soon as base building comes in, I think ground vehicles are really going to start to have a heyday because there's just nothing of value on the ground right now. The only time we see any ground vehicle usage is for defense when there's an event on and the event is something on the ground. Hathor, Jumptown, any of those, that's where they're used, right? So when you've got a base on the ground and you're defending your base, they're going to get used. So I think that's where they're going to start to kick off personally. What about USA?
Ground vehicles right now haven't been balanced compared to CAS, and it's going to be very hard to balance them because there are two things that are missing, in my opinion. The first one, well, actually three things. The first one is we do balance passes from ship to ship from actual firepower, but we haven't really done from ground as a category to air power. And that needs to happen, and that won't happen until there are other pieces in the game, like X said, like base building or things that they don't want to do two passes at it, right? Like they don't want to do passes with vehicles and then redo it again when the base building comes in. The second thing is we don't have the right vehicles or the right support vehicles in, and that's not just ground vehicles. I mean, a big portion of it is I've talked to X for hours about the things that are missing that should be there, but also ground support vehicles. So the reason why I always talk about the Liberator would be the perfect forward operating base, like a mobile landing. It approaches a planet, the two ships on top take off to provide air cover. The ship lands. It should be one of those things where all the turrets are on top. It sets up, it opens its ramps, vehicles come out, and there's like a command and control center or a TOC, which is a tactical operations center inside the ship, because it's not a good carrier. So give it a purpose, and we don't have that. We don't have the ability to create a full base of operations in the game.
A little mini mobile base, because the Kraken's also a mobile base too. It'll just be a bigger version of that.
Well, so a FOB is a forward operating base, and that could be a Kraken. This is more of like a, it is a FOB, but like an observation post or COP. I'll get out the acronyms. Basically, what we need is a place where if you're going to do a land insertion, let's say you want to take an enemy's base, you land a Liberator or two Liberators or three Liberators, and they unload their vehicles and their troops, and they stay there, and they provide the command and control. So there's like, that little room in the Liberator that they call like it's like the pilot's room.
Yep.
Yeah, make that a command and control center, where that's where you have a commander for the operation and his, sitting there, a master engineer. Make it a place where the vehicles can come back and get repaired. They can get, the soldiers can get rearmed.
Could you do that enough though with just like a Hornet tracker?
No.
No, you don't.
You don't ground operations.
You don't reckon he could? Well, because you're only really talking 2 to 3 ships off the Liberator. Unless you can cycle them through as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can cycle them, and the idea of having them there is purely for the ability to do repair.
Well, you did mention ground support vehicles. You do know this month that the Grey Cat Fab and the Auxiliary are being completed, right? So there's 2 ground support vehicles right there.
Yes, but you need some type of a command and control element to really be able to provide. Right now, what's missing, we talked about this with the Spartan back in the day and the Atlas platform, you need a command and control vehicle at the minimum.
Well, we don't have that. We don't have that gameplay though. That is another gameplay that's going to take a while.
We don't have a lot of gameplay.
Yeah.
So, and we're talking about the question was based around like what needs to exist, and that's what needs to exist. We need, if you're going to do a large scale org landing right now, it's one thing to be able to
he says effective, but I probably heard it different in my mind. I heard it of like what starts the ball rolling, right? Which is why I said base building. But
I think that's why they're not improving it right now as base building.
But effective, 100%. You do need the command and control stuff. You need like one of the the survey they did a little bit ago, like it was probably like 2 months ago now. That a lot of the questions in there was like, what would get you off Discord? And not and I went through their entire list, and I had to go to other, and I had to go, you need to make it so that I can be on my ship and have a chain of command with the communication. So you can have a communications officer at the top, that can talk to the captain, but then he can talk to each head of each area of the ship. And then so if I'm talking to the engineer, but then that engineer can talk to, he's in another room that he can talk to every single engineer. And that would get me off Discord.
Well, so we usually have in a talk is you'll have, and it varies depending on if it's a joint operations or there's small little details that change. But generally you have a battle captain, and the battle captain is there. They're not the ones who have approved the mission. They're not the ones that are the, that did the master battle plan for the entire sector or how you're going to take over a planet. They're the ones that are basically like, look, we're going to give you an operational order. We're going to give you an order of, you're going to take this, base. Mm-hmm. Here are the plans, come up with a plan. And then, and they're the ones that execute it. So they didn't even make the plan usually, or they, can be involved in it, but depending on where you're at in circumstances. But the main thing they do is they have a room full of people that each take on one aspect of the operation. One will be close air support. Like their job is just to communicate with the air power saying, this is your current target. So Star Citizen has...
Ooh, lost you. You back?
An outline of a base,
right,
like, like a skeletal outline. And you have 5 people sitting around it at little stations. And they're the ones that are sending out orders from the battle captain, the commander of the mission, saying, all right, team 1, you're doing this, team 2, do this, team 3. Another guy is saying, I need repair, ready for tank, tank coming in. Another one is saying, I just got, we just hacked their communications. We have the following information on team 1's location. You're adding really cool layered gameplay for your people that don't necessarily want to be on their feet, but they're coordinating. Another one is just simply like a supply guy being like, hey, we're running low on fuel. We need to call back and get refueled.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, that type of gameplay is missing.
What was that statistic that you and the Six used to talk about all the time? That every soldier, there was a certain number of people behind them to get that soldier there. Like 1 in 6 or something?
The general number, it depends on it all varies on the mission, right? Because each mission is a little different.
Yes.
If you're talking about like a single 4-man or 6-man tactical team, which is not even, they wouldn't be by themselves. So there'd be multiple teams that were supported. Just to get a team out the door, you're talking about 100 to 150 people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those are jobs, look, that are not going to be in the game. Thank God. Thank God there's not going to be an S1 and payroll and all the other things like that, like certain
payroll gameplay. I'm so looking forward to it. Yeah.
But but like there is certain, gameplay in it. Like I'll give you a great example, right? You might have, let's say that the Liberator, they added a good triage medical, room in the Liberator, right? It would still take somebody in the command center to be able to coordinate, hey, we got this wounded coming in, and you're providing, that's going to take like 2-3 people minimum on a Liberator to manage that medical gameplay. Now, the thing that I think that CIG doesn't see with this stuff is that if you had, it doesn't mean you don't have combat medics in the teams. It just means that you're going to have to figure out, or they need to figure out how the command and control portion of that works. And there'll be plenty of, at least, there'll be plenty of gameplay opportunity because there's always another job to do. So if you have no medical issues going on at that moment, maybe you're filling the goo in the machines. Maybe you're, restocking a supply, all the supplies for the team when they come back. Maybe you're, coordinating a medical evacuation to bring another ship in. There's things that you do that are the things that I know people don't think that people are going to want to do them, but I guarantee you they will. That type of gameplay, command and control. I know I've talked to too many people in orgs that like they're literally entire chains of command.
Yeah.
Like they're looking forward to that type of gameplay. So the last thing, and I'll just to fix the balance, at least to me, for air to ground and all those other pieces that go into that is right now in my mind, the technical problems with ground combat are why I don't do ground combat. They need a kit system very, very badly. I'm not saying copy any of these other first-person shooter games, but they need a better way to make ground combat smooth. And the reason I say that is compared to air support is that there's no way right now for someone to, identify priority of targets and lays from the ground. So if you're leading a squad in, you should be able to say, hey, like we have this on a hill shooting at us, and we have this, these aircraft are coming in and strafing us. We need cover on this and identify them. And I don't know how they're going to achieve that.
That's not something that you can always communicate either. Like, it's simple gameplay things like being able to tag targets and stuff like that.
That's what I'm talking about. There's a way to tag
you
and identify priority target.
You and I have talked about it, and we kind of do have the 1 through 5 with ships. When you're the captain, you can number targets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
Something like that, but also that your friendlies can see the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be nice as well, so they can see the priority of targets, not just like attack my target. It's like here's 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5. So the captain of the ship has set up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it's the same thing. You want to be able to do that on the ground and just have, if you've got a party, that the party leader can do that. And then it went even more advanced. Some of the stuff you and I have talked about, like being able to communicate with the ships in a similar way. So if I target something, that a bomb can drop a bomb where I need it.
That's really what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about close air support and fire support. They're two different things. They have very different roles, but they're both needed for ground to be successful. Because if you can't help your air power take out a ground target, you're useless to that air power. And if you're on Discord screaming at somebody like the guy on the hill, and you can't, say give grid, give designation. If I can call in effective fire today by using a grid system, and we have that technology, it definitely would just be in the future, just like blazing it, and then boom, it all comes up on everybody's screen. That's where I need you to hit. And it needs to be from the ground to the air power, not from the air power necessarily to the ground, although that is helpful. But there are two parts of that. There's close air support. You need to be able to say, take out that target. But calling in fire, like bombing, is, right now, bombing means really nothing in gameplay, in my opinion, because it's not strategic. It is, hey, there's a tower, I need you to bomb that. Once you can start bringing in ground combat in closer with effective support, in other words, they're closer together, you don't have to worry about killing your own guys. That's when it's going to become more fun. And the systems that are needed to make vehicles more relevant are those systems, because then vehicles can actually have value, where right now they're just targets. And there's some vehicles missing. We've talked about it many times, but the only real purpose for vehicles is to support ground troops. Like that's their job. And it's,
we're kind of lacking that right now. Again, it's a series of steps. You can see it, like you can see the steps that are going to happen. But as I said,
the thing is, CIG, when they started doing the ground support, or ground vehicles and ground support, for my opinion at least, they just basically said, well, this is what players want and this is what looks cool, so we're going to give them this vehicle. And
well, again, that's things like the Storm, like that thing reeks of Ruler Cool, but doesn't make any sense.
Now the Storm, actually, there have been some uses, and actually the US even developed a couple of light battle tanks. But the problem with the Storm is that
it looks like a light battle tank, but it's actually a heavy. It's a heavy battle tank. It's actually exactly the same size as its bigger brother.
The Storm is a excellent scout vehicle, but like it doesn't. There's no use for it because it doesn't. We don't have any bases. We don't have any facilities that it can roll into. Like it just doesn't. It doesn't have a use right now, and it should be designed to support ground troops. Like it should be designed where the firepower and the way that it's built are there purely to support, a couple squads of guys on foot. So once we get the ability, like the biggest thing to me that was a failure with design was that the Cyclone is a 2-seater, because the driver usually stays in the vehicle, in most circumstances. Granted, there is a turret on two of them, and you can man turrets.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, it should have been a 4-seater, and because that allows you to dismount and have people do things. So anyways, I'll end that there. That's a lot for that question.
It's yeah, but none of it's not correct. But it does highlight a little bit what we talked about earlier, where they are not military people. They don't know this shit. And what we're seeing now, we're seeing all these Mark IIs and these reworks. Why are we seeing them? Because they're learning from their mistakes. That is how else am I meant to take that?
I wish that
they had to make ships and learn how to make ships through failure. Right? They're going to do a rework on big ships like the Reclaimer and stuff like that, and the Caterpillar and stuff like that, because they went the hard way. Where if they'd talked to people, they would have got there quicker, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with that, Ese, but if they'd actually taken some feedback on board, they would have got there faster.
I mean, I completely agree with it. I think that the issue with, we've talked about this before, like they clearly brought in weapons experts and other things when they were doing their animations. The way that people hold weapons, like I said, the visor or the animations thing bothers me. But
the animations team did, because remember, they also talked about, they brought in people that did the aircraft control signals, and then they helped them make up new ones for how to take off on the Idris, remember? But that doesn't mean the ship team brought people in for advice. They're completely separate teams.
The first person, the team for ground combat, like the involvement of it, it was clear that they developed the kit, like body armor and weapons and stuff, before they developed what the tactics were going to be.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is players are going to make up their own tactics, but a really important thing is everybody has a med kit on them, right? And like they were still trying to figure out how to do that, and they could have brought in, if they wanted to use Brits, that's fine. You want to use the French, that's fine. You want to use Americans, that's fine. We all pretty much do the same thing, but you would at least get that insight of like, this is how you stack and roll. This is how you treat people with medical. This is what this stuff will look like, and not because they can't figure it out, but like the armor isn't designed, the kits aren't designed for the weapons, they're not designed for the gameplay, and the vehicles aren't designed for it. Like it's, I love the Cyclone. I think it's a really cool vehicle, but it is not designed for combat. Like it just isn't.
Oh, agreed. Rabbit asks a question that I often ask myself is, why wouldn't that be it's not a question, he states this in Twitch, but he goes, why wouldn't that be a design standard? Get a professional advice for everything. Well, because some people want to do it their own way. They want to do it with a creative flair. And some people are also a bit ignorant, and also sometimes people don't like to ask for help. Like I can list a myriad of reasons why someone wouldn't do so. They're learning as they go. That's the only thing I can conclude. Again, they are slowly getting there, but too slowly for my liking. Right? Again, the signage on the Perseus was a really positive step forward for me. It was one of the biggest step forwards I think I've ever seen them take. Like, was him realizing, and if you listen to the way Ben talked, he talked about, I had this vision for the Polaris, and then he freely admitted, when we did the Perseus, it came out so much better that we went back to the Polaris, and he compromised his vision of the Polaris to put the cool stuff like the signage from the Perseus back into the Polaris, because he realized what the community had said was right. That was, if you go back and watch it, that was Ben actually admitting he was wrong. He didn't go, I was fucking wrong, I suck balls. He didn't say it like that, but if you watch it, that is him fundamentally saying, I was wrong, you guys were right, let's make it like that. And that's a massive growth step to see, like like a design director or a creative director, I don't know his exact role off the top of my head, but you get my point, right? For someone that to learn that and to then admit that is huge, because that's the type of feedback we never hear from CIG. We were wrong, you were right, or whatever.
Yeah, along those lines, and I'll add to that, like they should have an expert in each individual section that advises them. But like, and if they had a ground tactics advisor, it probably would help the animation process or the recording process,
Yep.
and the design of everything on the ground. But like that person's job is not to decide the gameplay. They're an advisor. Their job is to say, let me do a presentation for you of what I think you need for these individual things that you want to achieve in your story. And this is the way that I would, this is what I would recommend you do. You still need the producers to be able to say, okay, well, I don't agree with that, so we're not going to do that because we want this because it's going to be cooler. But I do appreciate this feedback, and I'll incorporate that. That's like, the thing is that it's clear they do have advisors. It's just that in my mind, if they would have had them on staff and they were sitting in a room together coordinating and being like, let's make the best gameplay, they would have gotten more out of it. And that's,
did they talk to someone, then put it in a document, and then filed that document somewhere and haven't read it in 5 years?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to say Shady Phase in Mega Tiger Ninja on YouTube said, basically they were talking about either using the storm as a missile artillery or
eventually
to indirect fire like that. That would be the perfect use for it.
Yep. Mortars.
I also think
we've talked about mortars, missiles, bombs, a whole bunch of shit you and I talked about.
Yeah, autocannons that are able to do close support. That would also be perfect use of that vehicle.
Yep. I'm sitting actually here going, how could it be worse? And I was reading this story about Wolverine. I don't know if you've heard this week. There's been a lot of shit about Wolverine. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but what I want to get into is two very obvious things that are wrong, right? These are the two things, the two big things that I can't forgive that they've done on that game. Up until recently, do you know Wolverine? You know the character, the comic book character Wolverine? Do you know who I'm talking about at all?
Favorite character of all time, yeah.
What's his power then? What's his power? What does he do? What's his thing? Just briefly.
I mean, like, what are you asking? Like,
what his superpower is? I know what it is. I just want you to tell me. What's his superpower? What's his ability? Yeah, Rabbit's got in chat. No, he's regeneration. He's got health. He's got health regeneration.
Yeah, he's got healing factor.
Right. Yeah. So if you were making a game about Wolverine, that would be a key thing to know, would it not? Right. Up until one of the most recent builds, this game had health packs.
Oh, that's hilarious! I didn't know that.
That's insane. They didn't even know what he did. And it was to the point that in the build, the health packs were scattered through the level. So someone had gone through and put health packs through. What? How was this not one of the key features? Oh, he just auto regenerates. Like that would have been in my prototype.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So I was like, that's massive red flag. Nobody there or nobody, like the janitor didn't go, hey, you guys know he regenerates, right? You're fired because you spoke to me. Like, so I don't even know what the politics are like within that place, right? Because if you can't talk up and say, you do know he regenerates health, right? So that the guy's making the game real bad. And then the second one I heard that I also can't forgive, and I can understand maybe they're tight on budget. We're talking about a multi-million-dollar game here, but apparently all the mocap was done by a woman. Now, if you've got a man, we know this even from Star Citizen, if you've ever followed the thing, they had to have different people because women move differently to men.
That sounds to me like they were going to make an X-23 game and then turned it into a Wolverine game.
No, it's been Wolverine the whole time. Like, I could go back and have a look at the original trailer, but this is like for 5 or 6 years, and mocap is like a couple of years in development. It's not right at the beginning. So that was a choice. They chose to use a woman. I don't know why, but if that's a thing, maybe they tried to save money, because also they had Jean Grey in the game. There are videos out of this that show Jean Grey as a playable character, and apparently she's been removed from that build as well. And so now the only person you play as is Wolverine. So maybe they just hired one actress and she did Jean and and Wolverine, and they figured Wolverine's a short guy, so we'll just use a woman. But it's just really weird to me. But the health, like that, I think is questionable and weird. But the health pack thing is insane. Like, how do you not like? So again, we sit here talking about how ship developers don't know how ships work. I can forgive that, right? But it could always be worse, where these people almost seem to hate the game that they're making. So I don't think people at CIG hate the game that they're making. Because if that was the case, this would be a very different project. So just remember, it could always be worse than it is. I think what I'm trying to say here, right, by highlighting that, is that I'm seeing them actively trying to learn about how ships are made. They are very slowly doing so. And I learned when we sat down with Ben and John and talked to them, there was a lot that they didn't know, right? And I actually think and I'm not saying they should repetitively sit down with me and Algrid, right? But sitting down with someone like me and Algrid on a maybe once a year, and hearing that feedback from the community, and I'd also bring in military people like yourself, right? It would depend on the vehicle. Like, I wouldn't bring in a science, like I probably wouldn't bring in a military person for a science vehicle. You know what I mean? You get where I'm going, right, Ese?
No, I do. I mean, I remember being surprised about. I wasn't surprised I didn't know about spaceships because, I mean, you know, they're spaceships, right? Like it's a theoretical thing that they're designing.
Exactly.
But I remember. Do you remember seeing the video when they were first putting in fuses, where they had like the exoskeleton of the hammerhead?
Yep.
And they were like, "This is how the power will flow," and like this. And all I could think of was like, you already have pipes in the ship, and you didn't think about what they were doing. Like,
yeah.
You know, like it was a weird realization of like, you're just thinking about this now. So all those utility boxes and all the ships, you know, I didn't realize they didn't understand it. And to see them say that when they were like, how many ships in, was like very surprising. It was very clear they thought about repair at some point as just being a gun. You aim at something to fix it.
I think that's the worst part for me, is like we were so close to getting this really cool, more complex engineering system, and instead of just putting it wide and letting everyone try it and getting true feedback, they got scared from the reports they were hearing that it was too complicated and just killed. Like, I don't know what they're doing with it. You know, the last I heard is they're trying to make it less complex and bring it out in steps, like they're going to tier it. But just release it, for crying out loud. Like, you've done all that work, and then to just go, oh, scared, and run, I don't know, seems weird to me. So yeah. Anyway, Grim's in chat. Grim, feel free to jump in and join me in Ese if you want to join us. We've done one question and talked about it for 45 minutes. So that's or 25 minutes, but yeah. We're
kind of typical for you and I, actually.
Yeah, it's very typical for you and me. Kriv Ikas does not roll off my tongue, sorry. What would have been your Ship Showdown initial 16 lineup this year? Maybe we should set up your own competition. Hey Grim, we did do me and Algrid did do a video, but we only did the top 8 because we found, and we were trying to detect what we thought the top 8 was going to be. And we're way off, by the way. Anyway, Grim, how are you?
Yeah. I'm okay. How are you guys doing tonight? Or today?
I think we're having a group therapy venting session. That's what it's feeling like to me at the moment.
Well, I was supposed to stream earlier today, and my daughter got off the school bus in tears because her friends were bullying her out of nowhere. So I decided to push mine to way later tonight and take her out and distract her. So it's been a day.
You're going to have to sit down and watch Gremlins with her now. I think that's got to be a thing at some point.
Yeah.
Have you actually ever gone back and watched Gremlins? I watched it like maybe 3 years ago, and God, it's aged. It's aged something chronic. I was like, well, I feel old.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. So yeah.
So what are y'all venting about? What's the vent session been about?
Just a little bit. Everything. I think a bit. But the last thing we're kind of talking about was kind of like how slow the ship team is to getting up to understanding how the ships have to be made. I think that's kind of, if I paraphrased it.
More like how CIG is slow to to catch up to that. They need
advisors and stuff.
advice. They need, because I always vent on ground combat and just the poor design of the vehicles and the lack of concept of what the roles are going to be. And there was a question about like how can the close air support and air power be balanced with ground vehicles, and with where ground vehicles are relevant and ground play is relevant. And it was just basically me venting about the things that they're missing. They're missing command and control support, that the Liberator has an opportunity to be one of the most valuable ships for an org if they just made it a command and control vessel, for ground and certain operations. And right now it's just a ferry.
All this is like, it's like putting together a giant puzzle, but they're still manufacturing the puzzle pieces. You know what I mean? Like it's so complicated. I think the Liberator or any of those type of ships would make great command and control ships, but we really don't have a good idea what CIG considers command and control. You know what I mean? I think the only hint we've ever received about command and control was Richard Tyre mentioning that hologlobes would be a 1.0 feature, and the crowd kind of erupted in applause, which I think, and hopefully CIG takes note that they want that feature. That's an exciting feature. So I hope it's not just some visual thing. I hope it has some actual functionality to it.
Yeah, we briefly. Well, I mean, I talked about that really briefly too. But like, what they need is like to make it more like a tactical operations center where there's a globe and there are like 5 seats and a podium around it, and there are these sub commanders that are on there. They're sitting there staring at the globe, and the person at the podium is doing the one rotating it, pinning targets, and then everyone else is supporting that, saying, okay, team 1 do this, team 2 do this, medical get ready for this incoming, close air support hit this target. And to me it's like literally just a pinging system, as V1. Like that's all you really need, because it's going to be that and a screen to be able to select the different selections you want to select. So
I think
it's not a complicated system in my mind, because it's people. That's the thing about command and control. 90% of it is people, not the system.
Another one that shows you that they need more feedback to was the social team. They put out that survey a couple of months ago, and I said, I only kind of paraphrased on this, but a lot of questions. Excuse me, I got an indigestion. That came in the survey that I got was what would get you off Discord, and they had all these suggestions, and none of them were valid reasons to get off Discord. And I literally had to go to the other section and go make it like like a proper tiered system, so that if I'm on the ship, I'm the comms officer and I'm at the top, and I can make my own rooms, and then I can have the engineer, and then the engineer's there, and he's with he's the head engineer, and he's in a chat room with all the other head engineers. Almost like every room on the ship has its own like it automatically builds it off the rooms of the ship or something. You know what I mean?
Well, that's real life. I mean, if you think about comms on the stations,
but the point is,
the duty position
that would get me off Discord. Is my point. Like they had all these things, and they were superfluous bullshit. There were things like I can't even remember what they were. They were so insignificant, right? But again, if I had a copy of the survey, I could probably bring it up. But like none of them was like a reason to get off Discord. They were all like little gigantic things that you could tell that they didn't know exactly what they needed to get people off Discord. And it was like, have you not been listening to the feedback that's been thrown out there the last 15 years? Like it was really, really weird to me.
Well, the weirdest.
Yeah, go ahead, Ese.
The weirdest thing to me about, and this gets into ship design, and in X, we've talked about this since I think I met you. The weirdest thing to me is that if you look at the stations in ships are not designed in a way of effective communication of the crew, which is just not how it's done. Like there's a reason why when you look at a bridge or you look at a tactical operations center that there's a bunch of people facing screens, but there's also next to each other, and they also have a comm system, because everybody needs to be on the same page and see the same thing. And there's some ships where, they're bearing, bridge members on the bridge in like corners staring at a wall, like it's Star Trek and they're Mr. Spock. And that's just, it doesn't make good gameplay, in my opinion. And it's a convenient design piece because they've seen it in sci-fi. But the reality is, like, if you just, they clearly never did a wire diagram of, okay, who's going to be in control of this ship? Who's going to, where, they just said, oh, that's the engineering station. Oh, that's this station. And, it's that's not necessarily a design thing for most people. But for me, if I'm thinking about running my ship, the first thing I want to be able to do is communicate effectively and have the same common operating picture so we all can see the same vision of the captain. And that just hasn't been considered.
Yeah, I think, and one would hope CIG has these definitions internally, but we don't really know what their definition of being the captain of a ship is, being the pilot, being the co-pilot, being, all those roles, other than, it's an operator mode. But like, how is it, if you go back to that video where John Crew talked about sort of the fleet, arrangement when they were originally talking about the Perseus, I think in the Perseus's reveal video, and they sort of talking about like ships as a fleet. Well, understanding the roles on board a ship and how those roles change when there's an entire fleet involved. I don't know if CIG has any definitions internally, that they're aiming for, or if they're just sort of winging it. It sort of feels like they're winging it with the roles, to be totally honest with you.
My brain went two steps ahead when you asked that question, right? So I went, I don't know if CIG knows. But then I went, you know how they used to talk about how transparent they were with development, but they haven't really been transparent in the last bit. But most of that's because they're working on Squadron, right? So they wanted to keep it secret. But when they actually really start working properly on Star Citizen, are they going to be a lot more transparent? Are they going to literally talk about like their design philosophies? Are they going to like really spell it out for us? I hope they do. I would really hope they do, and that they actually take some feedback on board. Because up until this point, it doesn't look like they take a lot of feedback on.
Yeah. Well, because I hope one of the things I think when Squadron does release that will be nice to see is, and I know this amongst other friends of mine that are higher ups at game companies, both Rockstar, Bethesda, many others, they really do live under this like veil of secrecy. Like it's hard to even talk to my friends in the game industry just casually about anything because they live under that secrecy veil. And I feel like the CIG devs have been living under that with Squadron, which we get that. That makes sense. But I'm hoping when Squadron's out, things can open back up a little bit more, get a little bit more back and forth, get a little bit more interactive, with the devs and with the community. They may not do that. I mean, I know there's going to be people out there say, "Oh, you're hopium. It's never happening now."
Well, that's the make or break, I think. I think that's the make or break. Yeah. If they don't read the tea leaves, so to speak, like the community sentiment right now, they like if they were to be like really weird and just start, all right, we're gonna start episode 2, or we're gonna make a whole new game, like we're gonna make what was that thing called? Soul Singer. We're gonna make Soul Singers. Right? Instead of actually going to work on Star Citizen, they're done. They're just cooked. Yeah. The game, pack up, but we're all done.
Yeah, I mean, I still think, I personally still think that things are going to get better. I do think that Squadron will give them. Squadron releasing, even as just a decent game, will give them some momentum and remove an anchor from around their neck, whether it's a positive, negative, neutral anchor.
Agreed.
It's an anchor that's off their neck.
Yep.
Hey, we released this. Okay, you don't like it. Well, there's going to be some reviewers, but it's out. We accomplished that. And, the ups and downs of CIG, I try not to let affect me too much, just because I've worked at a lot of big companies, a lot of small companies, and they all have ups and downs. There's time period, the company I'm working for now, for example, just got done with like a 1.5 year, 2 year phase of kind of like a lot of suck. Like, it was always depressive. Everyone was in a bad mood. Money was tight. Things were not going well. But now the company is on an upswing, and I can't even nail down like something that changed. It just started swinging the other direction, and now things are getting good, and people are having, the companies do that. They're like a living organism from time to time, and I hope that for CIG. Obviously, they're going through a rough patch at the moment, but still overall hopeful about the future.
I think that pretty much lines up pretty accurately with what me and SA said earlier. SA, would you agree with that? He's pretty much on par with what he said.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the thing that I'm hopeful for, because we've been talking, I know it's been sounding negative. I think it's just more of what I would consider to be a critique of the past, but we learn going into the future. And I feel like my hope is that they're learning from their mistakes. And I have a lot of faith in Squadron. I think that everything I've seen has been on point so far. I mean, I don't like the ground combat in Squadron. I've been very clear about that. But I don't have to like every aspect of a game. I'm not that developer. I think I'm going to enjoy playing it. I hope it's a hit for them. I just want them to be, ready to focus on the community after the game's launch. And I don't, it's like everybody that's backed this game, I would say 90% plus is, if not 100% have backed it for, Star Citizen. Squadron is a bonus for them. So, the people that want to play Squadron, only Squadron, they'll probably buy it the weekend it releases. But the reality is, I agree. It feels like they're due for a win in a weird way. I don't know how else to say it. Yeah. And I hope they get it because, obviously I'm a fan of it.
I mean, I know the bad patch right now is bad, but I gotta tell you, and people that are close to Star Citizen may not feel this way, but I can guarantee you that the whole uproar over the SCL and all the big content streamers out there talking about it, it's already yesterday's news because all anyone gives a crap about right now is the GTA leaks. Like
it's
and
literally
we talked many times.
Literally what I said. It's literally what I said.
Yeah, exactly. Like how GTA just sucks the air out of the room. I hate to say it, but the GTA leak happened at a wonderful time for CIG. Truly wonderful time.
Yeah. I mean, just they walk in and go, "Thank God! Oh, they saved us."
And I'm not saying that in terms of like excusing, the roughness that was at SEL, but I'm just saying that like it's gonna be like the wider gaming community is already moving past that, and they're thinking GTA. And why that's important, I think, is it still means there is hope for Squadron, because Squadron, the funny thing about Squadron is it sort of doesn't have some of the baggage that Star Citizen has, because Star Citizen, unfortunately, has been carrying a lot of the baggage of broken game, never going to get finished. So a lot of people equate Star Citizen as the Kickstarter project that's been forever and is still not done. Squadron 42 is still like under the radar to a lot of people, at least the people I talk to. And I think it's going to be able to release without all that baggage to the wider gaming market. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. We'll see.
Sergeant Perry in Twitch chat just linked to me a thing on Twitter. I'm not going to pull it up, but apparently Jared got married.
Yeah, he did.
He is shooting high above his belt weight class. Well done, Jared. All I'm going to say, he did well. Am I wrong? Like he did well. He did real well. He did real well. Yeah, good on him.
Seems happy. Happy.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Really good on him. Yeah. So yeah.
But
Jared.
I'll say one other thing too, though, is that like no game, like there's lots of good games, but no game is a great game to everyone. There's just going to be people that love it and hate it. Like War Dogs is out right now. I bought it, played it today. Everyone was telling me, "Oh my God, it's Arma 3 all over." It's no, it's not Arma 3. It's a solid game. It's a lot of fun, but it's nowhere near like it's like I just looked at it without the rose-colored glasses, and I was like, yeah, it's a good game. It's not the revolutionary shooter that everyone's telling me it was. To drop everything. It's the best game you ever played. It's a solid game, but that's kind of where it is.
You talking about War Dogs?
But that's how all games are with people. You know what I mean? It's all subjective. So.
Sorry, you talking about War Dogs? Might have missed that part. Yeah. We did. I did show that.
That could be applied to any game. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah.
I buy so many games because everyone goes, "You got, oh my God, this is it. This is the final game you will ever play." And then I'll play it, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right. It's good.
Yeah,
not bad."
I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I'll probably play it later today. So yeah. But yeah, I'm not expecting it to be groundbreaking. From everything I've seen, if anything, it's a combination of multiple games. So again, like everything, it should be it's building on stuff that came before it.
And that's where it links back to Squadron. I'm sure you guys agree with this. It just needs to be pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What it needs to not do, like even if it's like a lot of people don't like the story, fine. What it needs to not do is release as a bug-riddled, unplayable mess. As long as it's a stable game, mostly stable, plays mostly smoothly, then that is a success for me. You know what I mean?
I think, I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong in saying this, but a lot of the stuff Star Citizen does, like the tech is there, right? But what I'm trying to say is it doesn't need to really be groundbreaking. It's a game that just has multiple games within a game. You know what I mean? Like it's the fact that you can do so much at the same time that is the selling point. So they don't need to rewrite the wheel. Like again, if you can play a Battlefield-esque game in the combat, if you can have the flight sim experience up there, and then you can have the FPS combat, and then there's a combination, because that combination is going to be really cool too, right? That's a bit like PlanetSide and stuff like that. That's the selling point. They don't have to rewrite the wheel every single time. They talk about this creative flair and these visions they have. I'm sorry, but it's right there in front of you. Just use what other people have done before. You're kind of doing it in a way with the ships. You know, you made the Aurora look like the ornithopter from June. You've got the X-Wing and the Scorpius. So you're kind of doing it already. Just do that with the gameplay. And it's the combination of those things and the emergent gameplay that is really going to make the game. Not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, you guys probably agree, but it's just like not everything needs to be new. Like, just check out the games that have worked, steal what works, you reutilize it in your game with a different skin on top of it, and move forward. You know what I mean? Not everything needs to be a new experience and a new way of doing things. So.
Okay.
No, I agree entirely. I think that's been the problem of Star Citizen from the beginning, was the mission creep and the feature creep, and just everything just kept expanding. I mean, I would, if Star Citizen had the fidelity of a game of 6 years ago, I'd be still playing it today. Like what I want is I want the quality of the game. I want the features. I want the depth of the gameplay. And I think that's the thing that, Chris got hung up on, like, this is going to be the best looking game ever released. The problem with that is, like, it's never the best looking game ever released for long.
Exactly.
Right.
So, chase the gameplay, not the beauty.
There's
the tricky. Okay.
I was going to say there's a thing right now that I've been reading over the last month or so. I mentioned before the Wolverine game, and a lot of people are comparing this Wolverine game to the previous Wolverine game. And people are actually now going back and playing the older Wolverine game. Well, it's the same thing. Any of the current games that come out, people are literally going back and playing the older ones because the older ones are cooler. And so we're getting these people now that are in their, their teens and their 20s. They didn't even know a lot of these games existed. Because, you only hear about the advertised and the marketed stuff. They're going back and playing these games from the 2000s and the 90s, and they're abandoning the new shit, like en masse. So you're seeing the sales of these games, and the other thing is these old games are like $5-10. All the sales are spiking, but the newer stuff is diminishing. And a really good example that happened the last month or so is the Halo campaign Evolved. that came out and people were, you know, there's a whole bunch of shit wrong with it. I'm not going to go through that because it's going to take ages. But people were going back and playing the older ones because, well, I can pick up the original or the Master Chief Collection or whatever for like, you know, $20-$30, or I can spend like a full price and get this other one that's got all this shit in it. Well, I'll just buy all the other ones. Oh, and by the way, I get all 5 games, not just one. And that's what they're doing. And that's kind of funny. Like, there's so many remakes now, and even the remakes are bad. I'm a bit confused by that. Like, aren't you meant to be taking steps forward, not backwards? Like, have we just forgotten how to make games? And I'm talking industry wide here, not just CIG. But like, and I'm not saying CIG forgotten how to make games, but you get my point, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think, I mean, this is my own opinion. First off, I'm 46 years old, so I realize that I'm not like the target demographic. Apparently,
it's over. Anymore. You're dead.
I know.
No.
And here's what I mean by that, because I was watching some people the other day, like, and I think they were talking about Star Citizen, and they were doing that thing where they were like, I just don't know why anyone would put money into this project anymore. So sort of that kind of spiel.
Yeah.
And to me, it's always been a pretty easy answer to that question. Now, again, like whether you should pause and stuff and base it off milestones, great. But the reason why funding for this game does not keeps coming in does not surprise me. And it's because I've played a lot of the new, hot, amazing games out there. And some of them are great, some of them are shit. But none of them are attempting, and I do say attempting, to do what Star Citizen is attempting to do. And I say that as someone who 100% considers Star Citizen a 50-50 gamble, and I still do to this day. I literally, even with everything I do around the game, I consider it a 50-50 gamble. Whether it's ever going to even release, like, truly. That's where my, you know, I sit with it. And I'm fine sitting there. There's lots of things in life that are a gamble. But that's why the money comes in, because it's still a project. When you start looking at what they're attempting to do, as crazy as it is, no one's ever done it before, and there's just a lot of people out there that are hoping to see it manifest. It may not, but they're hoping, you know, and, you know, we'll have to see. But like that answer though of why people fund this game has never been like a mystery to me. You know, there's a magic there. And again, like I said, I play a lot of the new games. Like I said, just played War Dogs today. I play a lot of the new games that come out, and a lot of them are fantastic, really good games, solid. But I don't walk away going, wow, that was that first time playing Halo type gameplay moment. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of those anymore for me personally.
I think a lot of original, well, again, Star Citizen is original IP. You just don't, you know, War Dogs, I'm going to be honest, it's basically taking other things and adding them together. You know, it's not an original story or anything.
And again, you can apply it to any game, whether it's Starfield or like whatever game is coming out at that time. You know, it's I think everyone's hoping for that moment where you're like, man, that's one of those gaming moments I remember. I haven't had one of those in a long time, to be honest with you. You know,
something else I wanted to talk about, but I've forgotten. But I'll do this question. This one's specifically for Essay. So this person must know you because this is a very specific question. His name is Male Ember or Mal Ember, who says, for Essay, why was the chicken a la King MRE Menu 9 the greatest one ever created? Is the MRE something ready meal? It's from the army or something.
Meal ready to eat.
Yeah.
It was not the greatest one. The greatest MRE is actually the omelet. And the reason why, and this is highly debated, by the way, the reason why was not because the omelet wasn't a gross concept, because it's an omelet in a pouch sealed in. First of all, it wasn't the worst one, the entree, but it's all the sides you get. The omelet has the best sides of any MRE ever released.
Wait, MRE said rations have sides? What the fuck? I'm having my rations today. It's a 46-part meal. What the fuck?
An MRE is designed to be 3,600 calories, so you can eat it over even multiple days. So you're not supposed to eat an entire MRE in one sitting, although I can't tell you how many times I've done that. But But yeah, I stand by the omelet comment. A lot of people think it's chili mac. Chili mac's okay. Yeah, the only thing I can say is the thing that I'm disappointed in right now. Oh, and I will add too, the pizza is a little better than people think it is. But the thing I'm disappointed right now in the MRE rotation is that they've removed a lot of my favorite sides, and they've completely taken out the Tabasco, which I prefer over the red sauce. So that's my comment on that. No diss to the Chicken a la King, but we all have our preferences.
What is Chicken a la King?
YouTube channel.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's no, go ahead.
I'm just asking, what is a chicken? I don't know what a Chicken a la King is. I've never even heard of it.
It's like a chicken dish. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. I don't know how to explain it.
Right.
Like a gravy chicken noodly thing.
Okay, so
depending on where you get, that's the thing too. That's really funny is that I'm talking about civilian world. Like an MRE is not when it has a label on it. When it says pizza on an MRE, you're not getting pizza. Like, don't fool yourself.
You're not pulling out like a slice of Pizza Hut or something.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting like a slab of, like bread-like material with sauce, cheese, and pepperoni on it. So yeah.
There's a YouTube channel that does nothing but review MREs from all over the world. But they will also specifically get MREs from like different eras, so like Vietnam era, World War II era.
Oh,
and
what?
Try them,
and they open them and they're like 60 years old.
Oh yeah, they will. They've even opened some from like the Civil War. Now they didn't eat those because it was like totally rancid, but it is wild. There's a whole YouTube thing on this where people collect them and everything. It's fun.
Yeah. Today we've got a la carte bolognese. Oh wait, it's a fungus forest. Let's go. That mold.
Like,
ooh dear. Yeah.
I've eaten MREs from around the world. Like my favorite is definitely the French. But the Canadians, like you actually get in different countries, you get things like bread in yours, like actual bread. Some of them have like they have older ones that they used to get beer rations and wine rations in. Our MREs back in the day used to get packed cigarettes or like a few cigarettes. Like meals ready to eat.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got this set up to work. Let's see if it does, or is it going to break on me? Make it work. Make it work. Make it work. Hey, I made it work. There we go. Right. I think since Grim's here, a really good time. I actually wanted to talk to Grim. I reached out to him, and he was. What are you doing? You're really tired. I can't remember what you said now. You passed out or something. And then when I had to talk, you had a meeting or something. So we'll talk about it now. I wanted to talk to Grim about Stingray and SA. I'd like you to weigh in as well if we can, because I am utterly convinced this is not the only one that's coming. I think it's the wolf all over again. And I am, like, me and Agrid assumed that this was going to be a bomber of some description, and I am utterly convinced that there's still a bomber coming. One, it's based on the Horton bomber, which is a bomber. And two, we don't really have a medium bomber. This is listed as a medium fighter. And I realized, I was like, why didn't they release the bomber? And that's because if you were going to sell a bomber-looking ship, people want the bomber, don't they? They don't want the fighter. So you sell the fighter first, because they won't buy the fighter otherwise. You know what I mean? So again, they always sell worst to best, and when you put that in the order of that you're selling a bomber, well, obviously the fighter's the worst. And when I look at this, I'll just cut straight to the chase. When I get close enough, I think this whole bottom section, or I can show it when I fly off, but I think this whole bottom section is going to come off. And I don't think you're going to get the 2 size 4s on the bomber. I think you're only going to have the ones on the wings. So you can pretty much see it, this whole bottom section, because when you bring the guns out, they are that whole bottom section. And again, you just, 1 or 2 torpedoes go in there instead. It's pretty, it's pretty cut and dry to me. And something SA pointed out. Well, SA, you tell me what you pointed out to me when I got in it yesterday. A quick look.
Which part about it? Like
the glass cab. This part.
Oh, yeah, the front view. I mean, I mean, I'm sure everyone's seen pictures of this, but like old fighter bombers used to have a piece of glass on the floor, so you could sight in. And that's exactly what that cut is for. It's so that you can look at your target as you're approaching.
And
yeah, it would. I could totally see that.
the other thing that doesn't really make sense is this alternative mode. Doesn't really fit this. It doesn't fit the ship. But if you were gonna make it so when this mode goes on, because see these little things here. This is the thing that I can't really zoom in because it bugs out now. They did something with the camera controls, and when you it's rotating the ship. Don't do it. Tap, tap. See those 4 little engine-y things that come out here? Now, I think what they are on this variant is actually the missile launchers. To see the missiles on the wings, there's 4 of them. And there's 4. So I'm wondering if this is like, you can only fire the missiles when you're in this mode. I don't know if that's good, because there's certain things that are working that aren't. Now, they've said that this is for better control within atmosphere, which makes sense for a fighter, right? That actually does make sense. It seems a little bit over the top, right? But if you make that on the other one, it's a slightly different mode, and say it's kind of like the Terrapin, it like locks down the heat or something like that, so you can more still, essentially lowers your signature. That makes a lot more sense to me for a bomber. But then on top of that, I don't think you're going to get the fin, and I don't think you're going to get these 2 arms going up on the other variant. But also I don't think you get those 2 size 4s on the bottom. And we don't technically have a medium bomber at the moment. I don't know where you'd sit the Gladiator. I'd actually have to go look up. Is the Gladiator light, medium, or heavy? Chat, anyone in chat know? But again, you only have got to break it down. We've got size 5s on the Gladiator. We've got size 9s on the Eclipse and the Retaliator. Where's 6, 7, and 8? We're missing shitloads of torpedoes. So is that at least 3 ships? 1 for 6, 1 for 7, 1 for 8? Who knows?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I could totally see a bombing variant of this, though. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'm sure they'd do something like the Alpha Wolf, where there's like a little exterior difference between the 2. But yeah, it would fit. I mean, I think it's from a design standpoint, it's a definite win. I mean, the color stuff still continues to impress me. I'm excited to see it in larger formats in the future.
I found this interesting also. Why would you, I know you can put other guns in here already, but I think it was a telling sign that that there's another, because these are only size 2s, right? So if you can pull these guns out and swap them over, then doesn't that mean that there's another, okay, at minimum it says there's other guns coming. That's exactly what kind of happened on the Wolf. You had one gun, which was the ballistics, and then they came out with the laser variant.
Yeah.
So if they're going to come out with other variants of guns, wouldn't that also potentially come with another ship? So I don't know.
And sold as a kit like they did last time. I can see that.
And also they're varianting the shit out of everything. So if they can make a bomber and a fighter out of one, they're going to do it. And again, as always, they sell from worst to best. So I did like this though. Visually, I thought this was really cool. SA did say it was a massive weak point, and I don't disagree with him, but it just looks so cool how instead of having all these little individual component things, it's like working on an old school car.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I hadn't seen that. That's neat.
So you can just open the whole thing, and yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It is really hard to get it up on here, though. To be honest, the trick I found is
to tell they had fun making this one.
Yeah. It's got some really, really nice details on it.
How do you get up on top of it?
So what I found is the best way. Sometimes you can jump up the back, and if you really want, you can put a box and jump off the box. But most of the time, the easiest way is actually to get in, and then as you're getting out, bam, space, and it cuts the animation, and then you end up standing here, and then you can just walk around.
Gotcha. Okay, so I may have to try.
Yeah. Also, SA, something, you know how we were talking yesterday about this, and I said, I wonder if this is flares or something. It's not flares. It's an actively working flap. It looks sick. Let me show you. Let me get back in.
Gents, I have to run for a bit, but thanks for letting me chat with you.
No worries.
Take it easy, boys.
Bye. Okay. I did want him to talk about this. The single. To go. Too bad. Back down to the ground here. There we go. I do like this ladder animation though. I think it's very. And you.
It's actually like a real aviation ladder, so it's a really nice addition.
I was going to say, you said that, yes. So it wasn't until I got back into Atmosphere, they fixed the hanger request. Nice. Of course it's not.
Hello, gents.
Ah!
Hey, man, how's it going?
The drunk guy turns off.
Good, going good. Yes.
How did the job interview go? Good? You got the job?
Hey, it went very well. I have 2 more.
When do you start at Hooters?
So
when do you start at Hooters?
we will see. Oh, man, they haven't given me the skirt yet, They didn't really have a size that fit me. It's got to be plaid, first of all,
Well, that's Twisted Kill. You need the Hooters shirt.
Someone was telling me they started up a new restaurant like Hooters, but it's for Latinos? Is that a thing?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Oh,
yes.
God.
Yes, they do. Yeah, it's called Ojo Locos.
Oh my God.
It's very nice. I was really sad for this ship. I was really hoping it was going to be like a light bomber or a medium bomber.
Well, it is
just because of its silhouette.
Well, that's one of the things we're kind of talking about. I think there's a variant coming, and I think there's enough that points to that. That if you were going to sell it from worst to best, would you sell the fighter first or the bomber?
Oh, the fighter for sure.
I think
sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, I think it's the same as next year, as last year. I think maybe towards the end of the year we'll get. Well, I'm going to call it the Manta Ray. You've got the Stingray. The obvious name choice would be the Manta Ray, wouldn't it? So if this, this is the S63, could it be the, I don't know, the S64 or the M64 Manta Ray? I don't know.
It would have been nice to have something to kind of slot in between like an Eclipse and a Vanguard Harbinger. I really think a kind of a lighter and medium bomber kind of role is something we could certainly utilize to some extent. So,
but this is
what I'm
going to show you, boys. Have a look at these flaps. I know that comes off awkward after the Hooters conversation all of a sudden, but yeah. I can zoom in. This one specifically I thought was really cool. Look at that. So we've actually got flight services working on this thing, which is really cool.
That's very nice.
And it's so detailed, man. Like even that, like underneath it, and when you fold the landing gear down, I don't know if I can get the camera in there, but when you put the landing gear, like you can actually see like full, like they've done all this stuff on the inside as well. Like you can actually get on the ground and walk around and see the entire inside of this vehicle. It's crazy. The amount of detail on this one. One of the most detailed ships I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've talked about for ages, right? I mean, you and Old Man Hurston have talked about it. Every ship they come out with, almost every single year or every month or couple months, they just keep getting more and more detailed, more and more refined, and more polished.
Yeah. But this is where this one's meant to be for in atmospheric flight, this mode, but I'm not convinced.
I wish they would get rid of that stupid ventral fin thing. It's just
it does look a bit fish-like though. You got to be honest. It does work for the Stingray a lot more than it worked for the Wolf. I'll give them that. I think I don't know how well this ship is going to go though, because you've got 2 size 4s that shoot further and hit harder, and then you've got 4 size 2s. It's not exactly a winning combo, because you've got like a 3 and a 2 are kind of close in range, but 4 and 2 is like, yeah, it's just
especially with the armor and how they have things working now. It's like Okay, so part of your loadout might be useful against certain targets. The other, for others, I don't know. It's a weird combination.
The only reason the size 2s are there are for the bomber variant, because it'll lose the size 4s and it'll keep the size 2s.
Exactly. Because you can see here on the bottom, Drazen, you missed the kind of start of the conversation. But again, if I press N, watch those guns when they fold back up. Watch that. Oh wait, I got to cut the power. I'll try it. I'll risk it for the biscuit. No, not an engine. Power. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no space in there at all. So that whole power. Oh shit, no power. Oh fuck, power. Oh, there you go. Fine. Oh, thank God. Right. You can kind of see that bottom is basically a module. So if you take that module off, that's where the torpedoes are going to be. It's just, it's really, really, really obvious. To me anyway. And I know people disagree with me and say, no, this is all the Stingray, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, we now have a history of variants. Like, we have 2 years of established variants.
There's no way they're not going to make a torpedo bomber version of this. Because, I mean, if you think about it, they're missing a ton of space in that area. And there's not a civilian version of one. And why would they not make a variant of that ship that's so easy to make?
Left Alt K doesn't actually work on this ship. I did try it yesterday, but Left Alt K just now locks and unlocks the ports on this ship. I found that you can only, like, because it's on the PTU, it hasn't had all the buttons done. So like yesterday, I couldn't press my keybind to call for the radio to call ATC, and today I can. So someone's going in and they're adding the functionality to the ship. So eventually I'm hoping I can go Alt K and just switch the modes. But at the moment, the only way I found, you can go deploy, set a key. I don't have one set, but I found the only way you can actually switch between the modes is to click that button on the HUD. I think looks wise, this ship is really, really good. I just don't. I think it's going to be another. It's going to hit the dustbin of just another fighter though at the end of the day, because the gun layout's a bit weird, and it's gonna. I'll make it really simple, and I don't know if you guys can. I don't know. I won't say anything. I'll do it with actions, right? What other ship is like this in the game?
The only silhouette that I've seen like that is our Vandal ships.
Starts with R, and it's made by Misk.
No, the Reliant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a horizontal Reliant, and if you think about it, every time. So if you look at the silhouette of this ship, like, it's going to be fine from behind, right? Quite thin, and from the side it's fine, but every time it's got to turn, right, and you're going to turn every time to try and get away from enemy, you're opening up yourself to fire. So your actual best form of defense with this thing is to run away. That's not what you want in a fighter. That's what you want in a bomber. To do the math.
You tell me. Cast, or no, it's. I agree with you that it's a bomber. What I'm saying is that if you're doing strafing runs, silhouette turn doesn't matter. That's the only way that it would work. But yeah, if you're doing air-to-air combat now, this is a gigantic target.
But we're talking specifically about the Stingray, not about a potential bombing variant. This ship as a standalone is bad, because it's taking the design aesthetics of a bomber and putting into a fighter. That makes it bad, does it not? You guys are the military guys. You tell me any different. To me, that sounds idiotic. I mean, make a fighter out of a bomber. They're designed for different roles.
Well, first of all, this is designed for one role, and that's to make money, which you will make a ton of.
Yeah.
Because it's very pretty.
Factually correct. Fuck you. Factually correct with your logic. Don't come in here with logic and facts. Right.
Secondly, it's all aerial vehicles have wings. The wing is bigger; it can be shot off. I mean, but every plane has that weakness. So
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's for the people who buy ships because purely based off of looks. The looks crowd of ship buyers have been eating very good for the past year or so. I mean, you know, they put out the Wolf, they put out this ship. I mean, functionally, I mean, they do function, but they're just money. They're just money grabs for CIG at this point. I mean,
I feel I do feel that while ones like the Shiv and the Bash were like that, I do like they went the extra mile and came back with the customization stuff on the outside. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. I actually think when they get off the flipping the ships from Squadron over, I'd like to see what the first new Grey's Market ship is. Do you know what I mean when I say that? That new, like not a non-flip from Squadron 1. I think that'll be very telling, because if they only ever have like the 3 or 4 ships from Squadron, that would be a bit unfortunate. But yeah, I also want to see what Kruger are like with an interior. But knowing that this is a medium, well, they're clearly going to do a heavy now, aren't they? Like that'll be the next one after this. We've still got at least another ship to go before we even get into an interior. Because even then, the heavy doesn't need to have an interior. Like we have heavy fighters that don't have interiors. A lot of them do. But it may be the first ship we see with an interior.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll look like a slick, polished aluminum, gorgeous. It's gonna look
no. I don't reckon it will at all.
It's gonna look like
I think it's going to be like an old school luxury. Me and Aga have talked about this at length, right?
That's what I'm talking about. Like it's going to look like a Padme Amidala ship on the inside.
No. Star Wars. That's Origin. We reckon it's going to be like a bearskin rug and like leather seats with studded leather and wood. You know, we're going to see like, you know, like all like a castle German, you know, World War II German-esque luxury, you know, the castle, the Jaguar, you know, the old guy with the peak cap type of old luxury, old money, versus Origin, which is the new modern money. They are both luxury, but they are both very different luxuries, and I think that's what they're going for. They don't want the same thing, because again, what you just described is Origin, is it not? The brand new shiny.
I mean, I think you might be going somewhere with it. I think I could see them doing like, have you ever seen like classic cars that have been like retro modded? Essentially, they restore the car, but they mod it so it has like the convenience features of like a modern day car, like a digital radio. Yes, it'll have. I could see something 100%, like that, where it's going to have like leather, some tactile things, but also.
Yes, I agree with you.
Modern-ish cockpit, you know, where it's still, you know, very easy to get into, fly, and utilize, you know. But with those accents, like you were saying, the wood, the leather, the modern, bare polished metal kind of thing.
Yeah, all the modern conveniences, absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's got. Yeah, I'm talking about the old school luxury. Yeah, Old Man Hurston style, not Origin style. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, but modern, what do they call it? Modern conveniences. Is that what they call it? Modern conveniences, but old school style.
So, yeah, it's retro mod essentially.
Yeah.
What they call it in the car community. But I don't know. I think it would be cool to see their design language. I'm excited to see what the M60 is going to be. I think it's cool that Origin's getting like more military-esque kind of ships.
What do you think it's going to be?
I mean, I think it's going to be, obviously it's going to be like a, you know, like an F7.
A fail? Oh my God, it's a fail. Right.
I think it's going to be, I don't think it'll be as good as the Hornet, but I think it'll probably compete in some ways with
So you think it's going to,
Origin.
You think it's a medium fighter?
Yeah, the M60, I think it is a medium fighter. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I kind of agree but disagree, and this is where I disagree. I think if you think about it, They had the M50 and they had the 85X. There were 3 slots in there: M60, M70, and M80. The first one they released was the Heavy Fighter. And we've seen this before, way back in the beginning. They went biggest, smallest, and then medium. So I think the M6,
it might be a light fighter.
I think it's going to be a light fighter, and I think the M70 is going to be a medium fighter.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I kind of view the M50. I mean, even though it is a racer, it does still have armament. I almost kind of consider it to be the light fighter. But
in lore, there are M50s that the advocacy used that had guns on them, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you think about it, there is a definition to take the M50 and put guns on it, and that could be the M60. I think, honestly, they'll go further and they'll make it its own ship. And they'll probably retroactively go back and say they use the M60s in the advocacy. Or they might even add to the story and go, oh, the advocacy is really happy with Origin's new ships. They're gonna replace all their M50s with M60s or something like that. That'll, you know, whatever the lore team end up doing. But I
am excited. Whatever it is, I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I've also noticed the sound on this thing is very similar to the Clipper. It's got this toot. It's not as dramatic as the Clipper, but can you notice when I'm flying along it? It's got a similar train, a lot more subtle. But can you guys hear it or not? I don't know if you can. Maybe my sound's not set up properly. But yeah, very chugga. I wonder how many people are going to clip their tail going in with. Yep, I'm going to be one of them. Right. And I did like the wheels on the arms, believe it.
So yeah, the wheels are very nice. It gives me kind of that Vanguard Harbinger kind of feel to it.
Well, they've said that they eventually want you to be able to taxi around on your wheels on the ground, so that'll be pretty cool. Some ships will feature on others.
Show them the before you get out. Show them the components
on the back of the ship that we did at the start of the video.
Yeah.
We did that earlier.
So spam and
I haven't shown Drazen. I guess. So you can also open where the guns go on the wings, Drazen. You can open up these. Right. So this is other reasons why I think it could be a bomber as well. Because I've got that bug. Hold on.
Cool.
I've got to fix this bug. Bug not fixed. Alright, I'll just work on it. Got it. There you go. Fixed. So that, but what SA ones was this. This is like a car. And look, all the components are in here. Except for these two. So there was 2 small ones that didn't. So you've got your avionics and your shields. And here you've got your shield and most of it.
Yeah, it's still a horrible design though. Especially when you have multiple of one component and you put them together. When you could separate them out, so if one gets knocked out, the other one is effective. Instead, they're all on the back, so you can just aim at the engines and the components at the same time.
But a lot of, I'm going to be honest, a lot of the ships, like the fighters, they have them all along. Like if you think of the Wolf, it's all along. It's all along the same side. Oh, actually, no, the Wolf does have some on the other side. Actually, the Saber has them all along the back, stuff like that. But yeah, there's not a lot of space to put components on the fighters. That's how they are. We're still waiting on batteries to come in, and we've got fuses that you can pluck out the individual fuses, but you can't pull out the fuse box. You can pull out the carbon thing, but you can't pull out the actual life support component. So this piece is missing. We don't have the computer in either. So there's still a lot of component work to be done overall.
Yeah.
That is a quick look at the I don't know, probably won't be able to do a buyer's guide. I was gonna do one this weekend, but it didn't end up coming out, so hold off and play out so properly. I'm interested to know what Agrid thinks, because he's always bigger, you know, more of the two of us. He's the more of the luxury ship. All right.
I mean, it's definitely cool, but gimmicky, you know.
I think the bomber's where it's going to be at. It's just, you know, anyone that thinks that that's a standalone, I feel sorry for them because they're going to buy that thing and regret it later. I think some people may upgrade into it. Price wise, I'm expecting somewhere similar to the Mark II Hornet. So you know, anywhere like if you're playing it safe, you'd go from like 150 to 220, somewhere in there. But yeah, right. I'll ask you this question too, Jason, while you're here. Have you found since the ship leaks last week, you've been thinking about ships more in your head? Like dreaming more?
100%. I mean, at the very least, anytime a new leak comes out in any Discord that I'm in where, you know, the leaks are there, I immediately come over to your Discord, the Inforunners Discord, which you guys should join if you're not in, to everyone else. And I always go into like general chat or leaks chat and see if anybody's talking about them. Like I always go here first to see what the conversation is, and then obviously I hop on streams to hear you and Algrid talk about them. But absolutely, I think I almost see it as kind of a pseudo drip marketing thing where, you know, obviously let some information go, I guess, to some extent, where it gets people excited and thinking about the next ship sale. Obviously, we've got the ship showdown going on right now, so ships are on everyone's mind. I think it's the right time for a leak like that to come out, and it certainly got me thinking about ships a lot more. So
well, that's what the title of the show was about, because I found that having things to dream about this week, I was just in a better mood. And I haven't been able to do that for the last while because they didn't do any ship silhouette videos. So
it's tough too. I mean, right now, coming off of the live stream video, which I'm sure everyone has their thoughts. If it was great, if it was awful, if it was okay, whatever. It's kind of and Star Citizen just kind of being a rough game to play right now. I've had some friends try Siege of Warson in the PTU, and it's rough. I think this is kind of a breath of fresh air, getting that information leaked out to us, kind of pick up the spirits of the community. So,
okay, so normally we do a questions and answer stream. We've done 3 questions and we've got like roughly 15 minutes left, and we've still got like a page of questions. So we could probably, unless you guys have got to go somewhere, I think we'll just kind of power through these questions and try and get them done.
Let's burn it.
Yeah,
sure.
Turn and burn, baby.
As long as you need me,
yeah. But we'll try and get it done as quick as you can. But if we go off topic and whatever, as we do, right? So That's an Insult says, can you speculate wildly why they still have so much funding? Are there new people still joining? I think there are new people still. That would be my take on it. Like, you talk to a lot of people, they'll go, I haven't spent money since 2015 or blah 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 blah. And if you look at the way the ships are pitched, if you look at the way Invictus is pitched, the way IAE is pitched, it's 100% tailored at new people. But yeah, is that the short answer? Do you guys agree with that one? I think you do from what you said.
Agreed.
Yep, agreed.
Convictus says, I think there should be more questions. Okay. Yes.
All right.
I think that was meant to be a contextual thing. He was probably talking to chat and didn't realize that was going to come through to us. That's an insult. Caught out, Convictus. All right. That's an insult. Says, question, missed at the start, but verdict on the Stingray is. We just covered that, so that'll answer that one. Pilot Moth, will longer claim times on capitals produce real formations, or just some more careful people on the same chaotic brawl? Feels like you also need something worth holding a line in front of. I think that it's just really weirdly worded how he's worded that. So go ahead, Ese. Sorry.
I think what he's saying is something going to negate getting a capital ship returned to you after its destruction. Like, what is it? Is it just a line of people waiting? Is it time, or is there something that's going to gate it, like a restriction of some type?
Well, even after going back to port to get it. So if you get out in a lifeboat, you've got to be collected. You've got to be taken back to wherever you're at, and then you got to get back to where. It's going to take a bit, so it's not going to be. It's not all clear, you know. And that's just to start the claim timer. So there's a bit to it more than people realize. If you could just open your mobigraph and start the climb timer, that would remove a lot of it. But like you've also got to be able to get back to start the climb.
Yeah,
I think there's a few moving pieces there.
Death of a Spaceman, once we get whatever iteration of that, I think it's going to slow down a lot. It's going to make people think a lot more, and I think even more so caring about their insurance claim time on a ship, whatever that might cost, getting the components back. They're going to care about the rep loss and the money loss from having to reprint their character again and all of that. So
do you know the Crusader, how you can watch the C2 be built? I mean, they're not really doing it, but you have that animation.
Yep.
I would like to see something like that where there's a dockyard where, oh, you lost your Idris, and then all of a sudden they start reassembling another one, but it takes the time to put it together.
That's actually really good. That's a really cool idea because they're going to have those animations for the space stations when you can build your Bengal and Kraken and all that stuff. So why not utilize that on an ASOP version? That's a really good idea. Really actually quite simple to implement too, because those capital dockyards down the bottom on the stations, they could just do it down there. It's the same animation, just put in a different spot. May do that, Ese. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, they could even simplify it and just do it in phases, you know, like 5%, it's got the keel showed. As it goes to 10%, it has a little bit more showing, and
Well, the way that you don't overwhelm the servers with that is you maybe have 2 or 3 ships being assembled, but it's not instanced. But when you look at the, this is like in your mobiGlass that it says that it's your ship. It can be like 20 people's animation going on at once, because why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, again, one subject to container streaming is properly implemented that way. So but it would be cooler if it was how do I put this? The other thing you could do is not have it on the outside of the station. If you actually had it like on a you know how you walk up to any of the space stations, you can see space outside. What if there's like on the inside of the ring, or there's like a hangar, somewhere on the station you can go and you can see it being constructed. So maybe you go to the mess hall or something like that, or the Galleria, there's a window, and when you look out the window, it's inside the station, and you can see them constructing whatever ship is being ASOP terminal. You know what I mean? That would be another way. So you are right. It could be a memory problem especially if you're trying to do like 3 or 4 of them at once, and they're all at different stages. I did that, but it realistically, I don't see it being too much of a problem, especially if it's like Drazen was saying, where it's in stages, because it doesn't have to, only maybe like once an hour it updates or something like that, especially if it's going to take like 6 hours to claim. It shouldn't be that complicated. It's nothing different to having the stations rotate and stuff like that. There are all those animations that shouldn't be. Yeah, I can't see.
I would love to see though, with you having to travel to an Aegis, shipyard to pick up your ship, because like it's a capital ship.
Yep.
It shouldn't just appear in your hangar. You should have to go get it. To me, when the question was asking for what stages are blockers, those are the blockers I want to see in game. Like the ship just doesn't appear in your hangar. You have to go pick it up because it's a capital ship.
Well, they even talked about if a ship can't be built where you are. Like, so for example, say we're in Stanton and you get a Crusader ship, it's built at Crusader and then flown to you. So if you get an Aegis ship built, it's built at an Aegis shipyard and then it's flown to you. So the further away you are from an Aegis shipyard, the longer it takes to get the ship, because it's also physically got to be flown to you.
Yep, those would all work as blockers, and it would make it a little more painful to lose your Idris, and I think that's a good thing. I think making orgs be responsible with their capitals is, if you're gonna ram somebody with your capital, it should be the last ditch desperation move, like we saw in the animation for Squadron 42.
All right. That's an insult, says, I know there's 2 games being made, but do you think Squadron 42 will ever recoup its cost if it was standalone? Let you guys answer before I wait.
I mean, I'll jump in. I would say if it's a good game. And I mean, the problem is you can't divide up the development costs, right? Because you have two games that are developing assets at the same time that are being used.
And
so
shared.
that's a difficult question to answer. But the real question is, if it's a good game, yeah, it will recover its costs. We will find out when it launches, and that would solve a lot of the cash flow issues that CIG has. But remember, they're not going to be able to sell nearly as many copies of Squadron 42 because so many backers already have it. So it's got to be.
It's got to be new people. Got to be new people. Jason, do you want to add to that or weigh in?
No. I think the success of Squadron 42 will assist them in recouping the costs, but I also think I see Squadron 42 as a pipeline to the PU. I think we've talked about it before, but it's, hey, congratulations, you've killed the #1 Vanduul bad guy in the single player game. Here's a 10% coupon for getting a copy of the PU or whatever, and a ship and a pack, whatever. I think that's where they're going to recoup the costs, is actually effectively utilizing the pipeline to getting people on and playing the game outside of Squadron 42. So
I guess you could look at it negatively too, and you could kind of go, well, is there a cost just beyond funds? Because right now, a lot of people look at Squadron and go, well, this is in the way to me getting Star Citizen, which is the game I actually want. I mean, so is there a cost in faith? Is there a cost in time?
Well, I think Star Citizen people that are not interested in Squadron 42 would have pledged either way. So I don't think they're really losing out on that capital. I think where the question about like how much capital they make off the game is really, and this is unfortunate in my opinion for Squadron 42, it's will it catch on mainstream? Because I don't want a mainstream game. I want a very complicated game, and we'll see what comes out. We haven't been able to play a demo or anything yet, but
I'll make it really simple. I don't think the money is in Squadron 42. They're making $155 million a year last year on ships, right? This year is set to beat that. Money isn't in Squadron. The money is in Star Citizen. The money is in the ships.
That's exactly what I said. That's what I mean. Squadron is their pipeline to getting people into the PU.
It's got nothing
interested, so they buy ships.
And if you do the math on how much money you could potentially make from Squadron, right? And look, let's just do it. Look. Let's go.
I mean, if you can convert 10% of people who play Squadron into the PU, that's 10% more ship funds per year.
Hang on. How much money? Or how many copies does a good AAA game sell? All right, let's start there, right? 4 to 6 million copies at a full price of $70. All right, so let's just take that math, right, and just say CIG is copying this thing. Hang on, I need to open my calculator, and you guys won't be able to see this. I do apologize. Right, so but all I'm doing is I'm gonna let's be generous, let's make it more than 6 mil, let's make it 7 mil, right? So that's like an exceptionally good game, right? So if we've got 7 million, right, that's correct, guys, because you guys can see it, but the audience can't see. I've got 7 million in there, right? Times $70, right? $490 million is what that comes out at, right? So just under 500 mil. Now you go back and look at this 155, and I divide that by 155. That's 3 point.
Yeah, I don't know what you did there, man.
I think I did the wrong thing. I don't think I was meant to do 155. Oh, it's 40. Oh, I did the wrong thing. So it was. Let's
just put 500 million.
Yeah, it was 500 million. That's so 70 times 7 million, right, equals 490. That does. I think I've math wrong there. 190 million. Then I've got to divide it by.
Divided by 1.
I'm just gonna
0.
do 155. I'm gonna times it by 3. So it's about three and a third years of ship sales from last year. How many years did it take to develop Star Citizen Squadron? You know, like they're making more money with the ship sales than they are.
Well, I mean, and let's be really honest and just say that ship sales will never end. Like the reason why I don't think there's an issue with Star Citizen moving forward in development is that they make all their money off of selling ships.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be made off of.
Yeah, and that's
granted their development costs, but yeah.
And that's also best case scenario because they also said they were going to sell Squadron for $60, and a good game was so to be fair, I'm going to lower it to 60 now, right? And then I'm going to times it by only 6 million because this is a much more realistic example. That's 360 million. That's a little over what's that? 2.5 years? Not even 2.5.
Yeah, but
that's
every out the gate, just them getting a copy of Squadron 42.
But that's assuming
those people like it enough to get a $45 game pack.
But that's but that's also assuming that they sell really good amount of them, right? We have no idea how Squadron's going to go. It could go even better, right? We've heard Chris say that he wants it to do as well as Grand Theft Auto. And if it does as well as Grand Theft Auto, yeah, it's going to cover everything. But we have to be realistic and look at what most AAA games do, right? And most AAA games are not Grand Theft Auto. And you can't imagine on the first outing, like if you go back and look at the original Grand Theft Autos, they didn't do well on their first outing. It took time to build up to that. And obviously, completely different game down there because it was 2D down, etc., etc. But it could do really well, and let me stress, I actually hope it does really, really well. But I have to be realistic and look at what other games do and assume it's going to do similar.
By the way, Algrid's in the YouTube chat. He says, "Hi guys, sorry I can't be there today. I back for Squadron 42 first as well. PU was secondary, sometimes multiple packs."
I did bring that up earlier, Algrid. To my credit, I did bring that up. That I did say that, didn't I? I said if you
did, yeah, totally. And I think that's a really important point: is that we all backed for our own reasons, but they were all in that thing that we talked about earlier, which is it's the imagination, it's the excitement, it's the we all paid for JPEGs. I mean, that's a big joke, but all of us original backers. We gave a fair amount of money, sometimes in the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for pictures of ships, and so the passion isn't for Squadron. And even though I think we're all excited to see what Squadron is going to be, and we wanted to get out, the passion is for this concept of living our space dreams, whatever those dreams are. And this game is broad enough to be able to help all of us live our own dream.
What you're saying there is exactly what I used to say to people like Osiris Frost that got really angry about them working on Squadron. And when you finally got it into them, right, and sometimes they'll be stubborn, but when they realized that the plan was to make Squadron and use Squadron to fund Star Citizen, a lot of them would get on board because they were like, I get it now. There is so much money required for Star Citizen. You had to make the single player game and use the profit of that. They didn't expect it to take this long. They didn't expect it to blow up where they were making 155 million a year. And again, you can go back and look at this tracker. Look what they were making back here. This is the time period where, look, this is 2018. This is around 30 million a year. That's the average of what they made. Around 30 million. So to go from that and then this, that was unexpected. That wasn't planned. It just happened.
I think it's move on with the questions, by the way.
I do think it I do think it's given them big I just want to say I do think it's given them big heads though, but anyway. Right, Daft Digit says, question, if you could pick 4 players to showcase that ACL, who would you... Wait, if you could pick 4 players to showcase... 4 people to play S and do that, redo the Ollie and that live stream. I'd just get 4 players or 4 developers. Because I think people wanted to see developers. Like if me, Algrid, and a couple of other content creators on there, or even me, Drazen, and Ese and Algrid got on there, I don't think anyone would give a shit. They wanted to see the developers play. They wanted the developers to kind of get a taste of their own medicine. That was kind of what people wanted, isn't it? Am I wrong?
No, I agree.
No, I thought it was. I mean, I thought the live stream was awesome. I'm like, hey, now the devs are sympathizing with us. Like, hey, we deal with the same shit you do in a perfect environment. Well, there's no perfect environment. This is what we're dealing with too. I liked it. I thought it was good. A lot of people, I guess the whole fucking world thought it was bad. Sorry.
I just pick 4 people I'd want to play the game with, basically. Like, it really doesn't matter. And there's a lot of people I don't mind playing the game with, so it'd be fine. What about you guys?
I want to see Chris. I want to see Chris Roberts try Siege of Wars, and that'd be funny as hell.
I want to see Chris try to dock or land a ship.
I want to see. Do you know who I want? I want Sky to play with Chris and pwn him like she did. That was funny. Do you remember that one where she was like, "Yeah, it was funny." She likes killing her dad in game.
Sandy and Tony Z and
John
Jared.
Crew.
I want to see John Crew. Yes, all 4 of them just try and work together. You know.
Oh yeah,
that would be funny.
Hilarious.
Who's the captain of the Idris now?
Yeah. Hey, I'm the captain now. That'd be good. But I'd also wouldn't mind Chris and his family, because I bet you the girls gang up on him quite a bit. Anyway.
Oh, that would be so funny.
Yeah, well, they did it once. It was quite funny. Anyway, Bo Talks Star Citizen says, question, do you think that the extreme silence from the CIG currently is due to the Star Citizen live drama, or just how they handle it? Their whole thing is to be quiet and let it blow over. They've done it again and again and again. I don't know if you guys want to talk to that, but that's sweet. I don't think there's anything bad.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah. Rabbit 07 Constellation 5 speculation modular. Like, yeah, absolutely. I said, and Algrid and I talked about this. Like, I remember the episode, and I was talking to Algrid about it, and he saw the same thing I was talking about. Is you take the Polaris, you shrink it to the size of a Connie, and you basically start swapping them back into Constellation things. So instead of having there being 2 turrets on top, you put 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom. The canopy stays relatively the same, but you got to remember it's been shrunk down. So you're somewhere between the Perseus and the Zeus looking with the 3 seats in there, just like on the original Connie. The hangar bay shrinks down to be a hangar bay that's the size of a snub. You remove the 4 engines off the back. You make the whole thing the complete Dorito look, but the original Connie had these engines that moved out. So what you do is you make them that they're like a streamlined part of the Dorito, but they break off, and then the arms come out, and then they go straight. Shut up and take my money. That would just fly out like the fact that it's like a Dorito that folds out to look like the old Connie. I can't see but people not throwing money at the screen, but I don't know. Would you guys? I know what S is going to say, because he prefers the old one. The old Ask Drazen. Drazen, does that sound cool to you, or does that sound good?
You lost me. If I'm being honest, you kind of lost me. But I know for time, I don't want to ask you to explain again.
No. It's fine. I got plenty of time. What do you mean? How did I lose you? Like you couldn't follow what I was saying?
Look, the design. I mean, I will say my biggest.
So I can make it real simple. If you take a Polaris and make it roughly the same size as a Connie.
Yeah.
So imagine a Connie that looks like a Polaris.
Okay.
That's the simplest way I can do it. What other way did I lose you?
I think that would be cool. I think I might be taking SA's side on this one, because I think the original design of the Connie itself is good. There were problems with it, especially the cockpit. I just want the Connie to have a clean cockpit where there's not a bunch of struts in the way.
Didn't you see what happened last week?
And it's fine.
Grim literally said the only thing they should bring over from the original Connie is the struts. just to piss everyone off.
I actually agree with that. Yeah.
If they do that, they're not getting my money, because that was the only issue I ever had with the Connie. As it is functionally right now, I think it's perfectly fine. You know, they don't have to do a lot of crazy stuff with it. You know, give us the Aquila front and it's perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the Aurora Mark II was a practice test bed for what they're doing with the Connie. I think it's going to be very similar to the like modular back and all that, because it fixes all the problems. So instead of having an Aquila and a Phoenix and all that, you just make it modular, and basically it makes more money.
Sense. I mean, it's because like how the 600i is supposed to be, right? The modular metal.
Well, you buy
that makes sense.
You buy one, and then they have all the on-selling of all the modules you're going to buy.
Yeah,
because in their mind,
that would be smart.
It's going to be like the Galaxy. It's going to be modular.
Yeah, because the thing is the amount of money they charge for these modules, right? By the time you buy 2, and say if there's 4 of them, right? By the time you buy 2 of them, it's almost another ship in its own outright. Right?
Absolutely. 100%.
So if you know, like Aurora's again, look at the Aurora. They were $10 a pop. The ship cost $45. That's half a ship again, almost. Right? And they've also stated that there are more modules coming. So if they bring out 2 more modules, that is a second ship, right? You go up to something like a Connie. We were a Retaliator, right? The Retaliator was $150. I think the cheapest module was $50. That means if you had 3 modules, that was another Retaliator. Yeah. Do the math. It all pans out. Like you go up a bit in price to the Connie. So again, if you're buying an Aquila module, a Phoenix module, and you've got the default Aurora, and then there's the Taurus as well. That's where the money is. The money's not in the Mark II. The money's in the modules.
Yeah. Oh, and don't forget the Phoenix / I guess luxury transport or just personnel transport.
Drazen's hot tub time machine. That's what it is.
Hot tub time machine with a piano in it to be serenaded. Yeah. Anyway, next question.
Oh, you guys are really pushing the questions. Right, well, I forgot where we're up to.
We're keeping you on your toes, all right?
Yeah, way more than Algar does. Right, that's an insult. Says, question, what is the best ground vehicle in the game right now? I'll let you go. Take that one.
Yeah, I'll take that one first. None of them are good. There are ones that I think are
nailed it in one.
Okay.
Like people use ground vehicles in this game, in the ship game. They use ground vehicles. What the fuck?
Look, they're vehicles that I enjoy and that I think they're not horrible, but there's nothing that's good.
Can I tell you what the best one is right now though? Is the MTC, because you can drop it off, turn it on, and it's just a turret. It's not that it's a vehicle; it's a turret that you can place that shoots shit around you. That's why it's the best one. It's the only one that has a function that you can use.
If you're asking if the question is which one is the most fun, that I have the most fun actually playing with, it's the Cyclone still. The Cyclone is just because you can launch that thing and you don't know if you're going to land.
Yeah, Cyclone Dragonfly for me. They're just for fun, but I'm not using it for anything.
I had a lot of fun doing mole destruction derbies. They were pretty fun. Not mole, mule. Sorry, mule.
Mule.
And the bikes, I like some of the bikes too, but again, a lot of that tech is like Year 0 implementation. They need to go back and work it. It's really obvious. They're essentially ships that are on the ground. They're not really ground vehicles. They kind of sold them before they were ready. But again, I think that'll come around again after base building, if I'm wrong. Christopher Dillon says, question, what do you think about having a bike rack on the back of the Anvil Auxiliary? This way we could carry a hover bike with us, effectively what they want to do with the interior. A terrible idea. And I also think that means that Anvil should make a bike. And my brain tells me it should be the one out of Oblivion. You know what I'm talking about?
That'd be cool. Oh yeah.
If I can bring up an image of it so people know it. It's this scene here with Tom Cruise. and it's basically like this motorbike thing. It looks like an e-bike motorbike, and it kind of folds up though. So again, being military, you fold it up, you put it on the back of the auxiliary, or you know when tanks have that thing where they keep the fuel canisters on the back, or they have things hanging off the side, kind of like that, but for one of their Atlas platforms where they can just hang a bike on the side somewhere.
I think every ship should get a trailer hitch. You get the decision if you want to hang truck nuts on them, or like have your cooler on the back for fishing, or a bike rack for your motorcycle. Maybe you need to put your rascal, one of those little carts that you can drive through the grocery store. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. We're gonna do this. Let's make it fair. Trailer hitches for everybody.
I can tell you right now, there is no way. Like, I know Chris well enough from my discussions that I've had with him. There is probably no way he's going to allow truck nuts in. He'll see that as derogatory. I don't have anything against them. I just don't see them doing that.
At least give us like World War II nose art for our ships, like the
Loveseeker Hornet with the
Heartseeker with the lady on the side.
What's it called?
That'd be cool as hell. I want to put little Vandal skulls that have been crossed out on the side of my ship. Like it'd be sick.
Oh yeah, no, that would actually be cool. And I have a theory in Squadron that's actually going to happen. Like every time you take down a Vandal, the next time you pull your ship out, it'll have a Vandal skull.
Yeah, so like
That'd
this, like this one.
Yeah. Give us that we can paint on our ships and stuff. That'd be cool.
Yep. Feather McClaw says, after Squadron 42, do you see any CIG returning to regular weekly videos, or they maintain the silence from here on? I think a lot of the video stuff, and you guys correct me if you think I'm wrong here, by the way, I think a lot of the videos are Star Citizen related. They're not necessarily Squadron related. And knowing that they are trying to get Squadron out the door, it's the same problem where they've got so many people working on Squadron that they're not really working on Star Citizen. And because they're not working on Star Citizen, they're not making videos about that. So because they're quiet on Star Citizen, there's no videos. It's just cause meets effect. So if they come back around and they are working a lot more actively on Star Citizen, I would assume that's how you're going to tell if they're working on Star Citizen. It is the easiest way to tell. If they're doing videos about it, then they're working on it. If they're not doing videos about it, they're not working on it. And that's why it's been such a hard development, because Squadron, everything's going into Squadron, and we're sitting here waiting for this other game. Anyway, I don't know. Do you guys want to add to that, or?
I think all the media, once they have the release date that they're actually going to be able to stick to, I think all the media that we're going to see is going to switch over to Squadron 42. Everything. And then if it does well, I think that will continue for a bit. And then I think we'll go back to Star Citizen with some dramatic, announcement of like, introducing that, blah, 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 this. But it is going to all switch. I mean, that's my prediction, is that it's all going to switch to Squadron 42 to promote it.
I've just realized they have to call that Anvil motorbike the Oblivion now. Like it's self-naming. Because the movie was called just call it the Oblivion. That's a great name for a motorbike, Oblivion. Or Oblivious. That'll be even kind of funnier. Anyway, right. I'll say myself out. Don't worry.
But
yeah, very much so. Yeah. Voidblight says, question: why are all the new ships solo seaters with no heavy fighters with turrets extended? Because they're easier to make. It's just so much easier to get one person to make one ship than it is to. I do agree. Why aren't there more turreted things like the Scorpius, the Gladiator, the Retaliator? Why aren't more of these fighters two-seaters? You guys want to weigh on that? You guys are military guys. Are there a lot of two-seater ships in the real world, or not?
Planes.
Ships.
I mean, Air Force primarily. I mean, when you're talking about like air-to-air combat, they're typically single-seaters. It's when you go into like the mixed role, like, air to ground, kind of like the F-15. Then you'll get like, your backseater will be the WISO, the weapon system officer,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll have the pilot up front. They can both technically fly, but they're both rated to fly. But I mean, it all depends. I mean, when it comes to like the fighters that they've been putting out, they are all obviously very focused on just space combat or air combat, and those you're typically just having a single person in them. Like, you don't really get much of a benefit having two people in a ship. If you're going to, I mean, we haven't had turrets, in planes in a long time, so that's a little bit harder. It's yeah. So anyway, that's my take.
Our real world is a little bit different from the game. Like, this is meant to be World War II in space, so that.
Yeah.
But that actually kind of leads it to say, well, then why isn't there more of those, not less?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know. That's
Essay,
a great question.
do you want to add into that at all, Essay? At all?
No, I mean, especially if we're looking at the time period, World War II, it's still the same. Today, if we're talking just purely fighters, vast majority are single-seaters. If we're talking about all military planes, vast majority of them are two-seaters.
Oh.
So when you bring in like transports, everything else that comes into that, gunships, AWACS, whatever it is. So, yeah, that's really the simple part of it. The reason why they're single seaters is because if you have, putting two pilots in one plane takes a lot of money and time to train a pilot. And if that second pilot isn't needed, you're not going to do it.
And we have computers that kind of compensate and help educate one person, like in microseconds, what's going on. So, like you have the F-22, they have a helmet that's millions of dollars, and its whole purpose is to inform the pilot of everything going on.
Yep.
You've removed your need for a second person, so it's just you focusing on the plane, on the weapon system itself. So
I do want to point out that there is a big difference with that in fighters in rotary wing. So rotary wing, you always will have two pilots. Two people with stick control. It doesn't matter, and that's because of the complexity and the fact that you're closer to the ground. If one operator is taken out, the second one could take over, control the aircraft.
Okay. Redundancy, basically.
Yep.
All right. Botox Gaming says, question for the Liberator. Didn't it get classed as a deep strike carrier this past question? I thought it was a light carrier, was the last time I saw it. Let's go have a look. Liberator Star Citizen. There's the Liberator. There's carrier transport, carrier vehicle transport, size, spacecraft. It doesn't say anything that it didn't used to say. It's just listed as. I guess I can go look on
even on RSI's website, it's listed as a transport light carrier.
Yeah, I was going to say these guys are pretty accurate. That's why I go there.
It says it in the information, like the little bullet points. Massive cargo capacity and a devastating defensive suite make a Liberator the ultimate deep strike light carrier. They
there you go.
That as like a tagline.
Yeah, so it's a tagline, not an official listing. But yeah. Yep, so they're definitely moving it to the deep strike carrier. Does that fall under the definition of FOB for you guys still, or does it carrier to me sounds like it sits back and doesn't really deploy on the ground, is my interpretation of that.
If you don't give it command and control functionality and a med bay, it doesn't need a lot of modification to be amazing, but it needs to serve a purpose. And the reality is that, the thing that drives me crazy about the Liberator is that it's the
wasted
old
potential?
shipping ship. Yeah, like all it's meant to do is ferry. There are a lot easier ways to ferry aircraft.
So if you can see this image, there is plenty of space in this ship that you could add, like back here or in different areas, even below, like this, because if you go below, where is it? If you go below, you'd obviously have space up, here, You know, there are different places you could have rooms. The point I'm trying to make is there is plenty enough space to add, even if it's just a single tier 3 bed. Right? It doesn't.
No, and the funny thing to me about the briefing room for the pilots, you have two, maybe 3 pilots on that ship. Why would you need a briefing room with a hollow globe? You know, make that command and control. You know, the pilots are sitting along. You know, if they can get briefed in the same space, but like, give it an ability to, you know, make it where the fighters take off, escort it down to ground, it lands, doors open, starts unloading its, you know, packages. Fighters do, you know, close air support and covering, even observation. They could be a tracker, and the commander then can direct the troops, because it actually is a troop transport too. Can direct the troops, you know, on, okay, load up on into your Spartans, and this is the objective.
It does have
I'll watch it from here.
16 jump seats here for troops.
Yeah, so basically, to me, when I say it's a FOB, it's technically a lot smaller than a FOB would be, but the idea is that just a forward operating base that you can do ground assaults with. That, you know, is a one complete package. It'll need to be resupplied, but it gives you the ability to do triage medical, you know, supply, resupply, light repair, you know, and comms, all the stuff, and defensive turrets for defensive positions.
That said, though, you could just take an auxiliary with you, and that would have a medical bed on it, for example.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that, like, why even do that? Make it what it.
Well, I can tell you right now, one of the landing pads, for example, is a snub landing pad. Put a Pisces 8 C8R on that, and you're done. You know, so I think what they're pointing it towards. Now, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way, because I do agree with you. But I'm trying to get in their headspace, and I'm wondering if they're wanting that to be on the vehicle rather than this.
Well, you would still need the vehicle to do your SAR, your SAR. So, and your the ability to take them into orbit for hopefully a orbiting medical ship. The idea is that this isn't an all-in-one package where you can put back limbs and all that. That's not what I'm saying. You know, but you can triage people, get them stabilized, and get them on the Pisces and send them up. You know, and you know, it's not that right now this ship serves really no purpose, and I want it to, because I think the idea of the one thing we don't have are forward operating positions, and it'd be really nice gameplay wise if you could just land it, you know, rather than you know, having to build it. But anyways, that's just my opinion.
I mean, I think the Liberator functions is what the Marines are getting, which is the light amphibious warship. And its whole purpose is, you know, going from shore to shore, or in this case, in Star Citizen's case, it's going from an established base of operations that you have, or a fleet, and it's putting people, troops, supplies on the front line. It's meant to be that last mile transportation, you know. It gets you there, it gets people there, it gets supplies there to the front line, and that's it. I think as you add more functionality, you end up doing what the military in real life has done, where you feature bloat something where it essentially becomes, you know, it can't do anything good at that point. You know, you've given it too many roles, too many tasks. So I think as it is right now, it fills a very good function, but I would hesitate people trying to overstretch what its function is.
Next question is from Radium TX. Is this question: where is the Bass's buyer's guide? Did I miss it? There's the link. On the channel. Like this. So yeah, we did that. Right, Radium TX said that one. Rao Mental says, what price do you think the Stingray will have? That's a good question. What price do you go?
I'm gonna say 165.
Yeah, around 175 for me.
Yeah, I'd be in that ballpark, as I said earlier, somewhere from 250 to 150 to 220, and I think that also includes the bomber variant. You know, add $20-$30 for the bomber, maybe more.
Yeah.
I basically would look at the Hornet Mark II.
Yep.
Hornet Mark to price.
That's why I said 175. It slots it right at that.
175. Yep. That's probably where I'd put it. And then luxury tax add $10, so 185, which is exactly what the Super Hornet used to be. The Mark 1 Super Hornet, 185. Yeah. It's the exact price of the Gladiator. So you make that, and then make the new bomber more expensive than the Gladiator. Sounds like a traditional thing to me. So yeah, I'm gonna go about 185. For me, luxury. I think that. Anyway, RTX says, question more of a statement. Flying wings lack vertical stabilizers, which limits the maneuverability. Something a fighter can't sacrifice. This excels in range, fuel, carrying capacity. Yeah, true. That could make it more of a long-range fighter. That is true.
That's why it has its second mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, the V-stabs on the wings and below.
Yeah. Stabilizers, yeah.
So obviously, it's probably a thing that we can't really see in game yet with the atmospherics effects. So it probably will make it a better in atmosphere fighter than most. And also, if you then go into space, you can. Having two modes is going to be a good thing, not a bad thing. But it also, when you make something in Star Citizen more versatile, it's not as good as the niche. So I'd expect that when it's a fighter, it's not as good as a fighter. But then you take those two fighters and take them out of atmosphere and say, put them in space. That changes. So again, jack of all trades, master of none. It's that type of, yeah. Last question for today. Mature Gaming HQ says, question, do you think eyewitnesses see a console release date as well for Squadron 42? So do you boys think that they'll be releasing it to console?
If it does well, yes, absolutely. For the technology and the current console generations is more than capable of handling the game. You know, it's just a matter of, you know, when. It's not going to be anytime soon. But I mean, I guarantee if it sells really, really well, they're going to see the dollar signs and they'll chase it down.
Drazen?
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. I agree with SA. I think if Squadron does well, they'll port it over to console and call it a day there. But I think kind of goes back to my original point. I think Squadron's whole concept is getting people over to the PU, which obviously that won't be able to be accessed on console. So you might take a portion of your audience who likes Squadron. Now they're going to need to buy a computer in order to play Star Citizen, and computer prices are still very expensive. So I don't know, it's going to be tough, but I could see them, you know, doing that to eke out some more money from Squadron. So
every game that Chris Roberts has ever made has come on to console. And a lot of people look at Star Citizen and they cannot separate Squadron and Star Citizen, but Squadron is a standalone single player game. So if I'm playing on a calculator, I'm playing it on the moon, I'm playing it on my toilet, I'm playing it on a PC, a console, it doesn't matter because you are playing it on your own device. They are separated things that they don't cross-pollinate. So Squadron it's just a no-brainer to bring it onto a console. You are leaving so much money on the table for very little development cost to port it over. And the really cool thing is once you've made it, you can probably hand it off to another studio and get them to do it. You know those studios that specialize in converting something from one to the other, and then they can focus on Star Citizen or whatever else stuff they want to focus on. So I think it's a no-brainer to leave a lot of extra cash on the table like that, especially if it's really successful on PC.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you, both of you, for joining me today. We are going to raid Grim, the little shithead. He left here telling us that he had to go do something, and he went and streamed. That's what he did. So we'll raid over. Channel, and then I once raided StarJump, right? And he's not StarJump, he's StarJump_Grim. And so I raided nobody. Told me that the raid was happening and everything, all that, and it went nowhere. Nothing. So if you don't get the commands right, you get stuff. Anyway, so we'll raid over there to Grim and show him some love. And and he's obviously checking out stuff. All right. With that, then, Twitch say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube say goodbye to Twitch, and we'll see you next week. Say hello to Grim for us. Bye. Realized his camera's exactly where I'm sitting. All right, let's have.
Okay.
I gotta move over.
Do you want to grab a mission and share it?
Not a bad idea.
Okay. Oh, we just got raided by someone. Who raided? Let me go over the thing.
If he doesn't.
Inforunners just raided with 31 viewers. Thank you very much, Inforunners. Michael Sarge had to go. Well, yeah, I had to go. I had to go to get my stream ready.
Lying son of a bitch!
I had a stream at 9
Son
p.m.
of shit!
I had to
What my
switch over
boss?
to that.
No, that's fine. He's fine.
Thank you very much, Execute and Essay. Hope you guys had a good discussion. Trying out the stink ray.
All right. We'll love him and leave him. All right. So you guys on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Essay, for coming and helping in, and Drazen turning up late, and
Yes, sir.
all that. But it was a pleasure having both of you.
Anytime, man, that I can.
We do keep planning in the background to get together and do a command and control, but it just never ever eventuates. At some point, we'll have to pull our thumbs out and get that done.
It'll happen.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, eventually. All right, with that then, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went extra mile on Patreon. The video, appreciate it. Thanks again to the voices in the void, being Drazen and Essay, and I've been Execute. We'll see you next time, citizen. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, boys.
Goodbye,
Bye, y'all.
boys.
You can see who's the more serious one between Drazen and more mature one.